Oh boy. We are back with another live open court discussion in the Counselor's Corner, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Last week we discussed toxic masculinity, hosted and led by Soraya Jones Harrington. It went so well, we are coming back tonight with the topic discussion life lessons from the bedroom, hosted by Soraya and Tiffany. Well, you know her as Mofo and Scorpio T. I know that you are thinking, like, what? Really, David? Life lessons from the bedroom? Well, Soraya will be looking to facilitate this discussion for us to reflect on our best and worst encounters and what it has taught us. Put your children to bed because it might get hot and steamy in the counselor's corner. Keep an open mind because you never know what you might learn. Something new. So here we are tonight. The weather's nice. I'm sure it might get hot and steamy in the counselor's corner. We have Herb in here, the big bad wolf. Soraya's in here, aka Mofo. Tiffany, aka Scorpio. So lessons from the bedroom. So I'm interested to see where we gonna go from here because I know a lot of people say, "Oh, what happens in my bedroom stays in my bedroom," but there's other teachable components that sometimes uh, there are some things that goes on in the bedroom, and it's not always sexual. It's the conversations, the communication, the lack of, and things like that. So we're gonna cover multiple topics tonight in that area. But other than that, everything is good for Monday. Everything is good.
Well, listen, this is a conversation. I mean, if we're going to have a conversation on a Monday, I feel like this is the type I want to have. And so for all of them mofos out there, just like, well, what goes on in my bedroom stays in my bedroom. But we're not talking to you. We ain't talking about you telling us all your positions and all that shit. We're talking about the life lessons. There are some things that you've learned. There are some things that you have learned, some lessons that you have taken with you throughout your
Right.
life, whether they working for you or not, whether it's some things that you done learned you're scared of or not. But a lot of the times you can trace it back to some experience that you had from somebody that you were in a sexual relationship with. And so for me, you know, we spend a lot of time kind of attacking people's reactions, men and women, and a lot less time just kind of talking about what the cause of some of those things is. And the cause of some of those things is just the lessons that we've been taking from one another, from one bedroom to the next, so to speak. So I thought it would be lighthearted. It would be fun to be able to figure out, really where some of these idiosyncrasies that we have come from, where we learned that lesson, if that lesson has served us well or if it hasn't. So that is the stance that I'm taking. We're not trying to get up into your bedroom. And so if you have that attitude, you a prude anyway, and you one of them old people that we talking about that need to go to bed. That's you one of them people that you right there. If you upset, if you talking about something what's done in your bedroom, stay in my bedroom, you the main one that need to go on and set your alarm clock and go to bed. You and the children. So there's that one. So I know for me, I will go first, and so one thing, and we were just talking about this. One thing that I've learned, just something that I've taken, and again, this is just about what you've learned personally. It's not to challenge what anybody has learned because each of us are taking lessons and learning lessons in a different way. But I've learned that for me, I can pretty much ascertain what a couple of things that a person is about by their favorite type of sex. And I'll give an example. When you ask somebody, well, what is your favorite type of sex? And they say things like makeup sex. To me, a person that likes makeup sex is also a person that likes to fight. Because you can't
Okay.
have makeup sex without a fucking argument. And let me tell you something, I have been with such a person. And I don't want to. I don't want to fuck when we're mad. I want to fuck you up. I want to fight you. I don't want I'm not that girl. So for me, I feel like a lesson that I've taken is that people are really trying to create the situations that cause their favorite type of sex. For me, we all know how I feel about marriage. I feel like that shit is a prison. So one of my favorite types of sex is I miss you sex. How do I facilitate that? I get fucking ghosts. You will miss me. That's my favorite type. So, Tiffany, what's your favorite type of sex? What's your favorite type?
Okay, so other than the makeup thing, because I'm not doing that, don't do makeup sex, because that implies, as you said,
We
I have
gotta
to always
fight.
be fighting you. So for me, the door is wide open. Give me what you got, baby,
Oh
and I
Lord.
will take
Oh Lord.
care of that. So that's me
Get what you
in a
got.
nutshell. What do
Okay.
you have
Okay.
to give? Let's do this thing. What you got? So that's just me.
Okay. So you just down for anything. You just ready for all. That's what that tell me. You just braced for all of it.
I'm a Scorpio. What can I say?
Oh,
What can I say? Other
Her.
than the listen, wait a minute now. I'm not saying don't do no weird stuff like
Well,
I didn't
yes,
say
you
anything.
don't
did.
be
Yes, you
trying to
You
go in
let
the
did.
that
shower
door
or
open.
something.
No,
You
yes,
let
you
that door
did.
open.
Because you was like, give me what you got. I'm
Girl,
like,
shut up. I'm
whoa,
just saying, don't
okay.
be trying to go in the shower with me or nothing like
Oh,
that. But whenever he is a rete, I am your huckleberry. Let's do this thing. Okay, let's do this thing. I don't want to do
okay.
makeup sex, though, and I don't do angry sex because if you're angry, you're trying to hurt me, and I'm not going to allow that. So,
Oh,
yeah, that's one of those not gonna happen type things.
I can, well, okay. Angry sex, no, because again, like you said, like you're trying to hurt me. That is not to say that a little bit of choking is not
oh.
allowed in the I miss you sex, is all I'm trying to
But that's
say.
not angry though.
That's all I'm trying
That's
to
not
say. Like, bitch,
angry.
you been gone a
That's
long
not,
time. Like, I can, I can make me deal with that. I don't want you pissed at me. That takes us in a different direction. That's like, punishment and all this stuff. I don't, we're not there. But yeah, a little bit of choking may be allowed. Hey, Anita, her
Hi.
favorite type
Going
of
on,
sex.
Anita.
What'd you say?
I asked her favorite type of sex.
Oh, favorite type. I don't know if I have a favorite type. That that for me is sex for me is an activity. You know, I come home at night and I work third shift, so for me it's you know I get in when I can. Particularly if I'm in a relationship. If I'm not in a relationship, then I'm just like, you know what, sex is probably the farthest thing from my mind. So and the funny thing about that is a lot of women swear that I have a line of women out my door, waiting for me to pick up the phone and call and say, yo, come through. And I try and figure out why that is. I'm just like, I'm really not that guy. I've never been that guy. I'm particular about, who I do what with. And even in that realm, I'm more particular about what I do. So, for me, sex is not one of those things that I go around looking for. If the individual that I'm interested is there, we gonna have sex. It doesn't matter if it starts on the couch, ends up in the bedroom, or ends up in the bed, starts in the bedroom, ends up on the couch, or we in the bathroom, hands against the mirror, whatever the case is. We gonna get it in wherever we get it in. Even well, I'm gonna leave that portion alone. I'm not gonna just I'm not going to divulge what plans I have for my domicile in terms of certain illicit acts in quasi public places,
Fuck
shall
it,
we
I'm
say?
getting across. I'm getting across and I'm nailing. I'm a high nugget nigga strapped to it. Is that what you trying not to say? No, no,
No,
no.
no, 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 no,
I'm
no.
with
No,
that.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm I'm talking about PDAs in the kind of illegal realm, shall we say, or slightly risque realm, shall we say?
In the car.
And I've done that as a kid. I'm talking about stuff where your neighbors can peek in and say, "Oh, that's what he does at night when he's not working."
You open the window with your shit.
Hey,
Yeah,
I,
okay.
hey, wait a
David.
He a
minute.
voyeur. In other words, he a voyeur. He up there in the
Yeah,
window.
I'm a voyeur.
I
I'm a
walk,
voyeur.
I,
I love that.
but I've said this. I walk around my house unclad. So how is that any different? The only difference is I have a willing participant that's able to say, "Hey, I like that. Let's try that." And so I'm not averse to it. I mean, if I'm willing to do it on the beach with the waves crashing the shore, then what's the harm in doing it somewhere else a little closer to home?
Dave, what's your favorite type of sex?
Listen.
The lights are bright, Dave. The lights are bright.
Well,
The
one,
lights are bright.
I'm more of a private type of individual.
You one of the
So
mofos
Nobody
we
knows
send in
what
the
that
bed.
means.
Are you serious?
say that again.
You one of the mofos we send into bed. I
No,
ain't
you ain't
asked you
sending me to
about what
bed.
you.
I'm
Okay,
ready
well,
for bed, but
Oh
you ain't
no, you
sending
going
me.
to bed.
But all that makeup and all that stuff. See, I don't generate off the sex off of that because if we going at it like that full throttle, I'm gonna be one like that scenario said that okay, one of us gonna be in another room and we gonna have to reflect on it, and I ain't trying to have no makeup sex. I like for it to be pleasurable, and us to have a good time. It's usually based off laughter and having a good time, enjoying each other. I ain't about that makeup stuff, whatever, because to me that's just trying to substitute, put a band-aid on something, and then the problem is still there. So that's usually it's based on good times and us feeling each other and good vibes. That's how I operate. That's my mode of operation.
I've met some people who have actually said, because have you ever like had an argument with somebody that you didn't start the argument and you don't even know why you were arguing, what the argument was about? Like I've actually had somebody say to me what they told, and this is where I learned this lesson. This was their favorite type of sex, and it was like, things are going too good. We needed to argue, so that we can. And I was just like, my whole face fell
I'm
off
done.
because I was like, I ain't never had no dude
I'm
say we
done
need
at
to
that point.
argue some more so that we can have makeup sex. I was like, you're deranged, and like, I want to stab you. I want to stab you. Like I don't like being angry because it's just not a place that I live in. It's I'm a happy woman, and so I like to share my happy with you. Like, don't come at me with the BS. And then, because I don't understand how you say some of the things that you say to people in an argument and you still expect that I'm going to suck your man. Like, how does that happen? Like, you'd have just told me that I was a bitch and all kind of hoes and all this stuff or whatever it is that you say when you're angry and in an argument. And that's supposed to be somehow turned around to like
Right.
I'm supposed to drop down on my knees and just like I don't get it. Like I don't get it. Like so
Yeah,
Anita,
they can miss me. They can miss me with that too.
I don't
I
get
feel
it.
you on that.
You know what I
They
think
can
that stems from
definitely miss me with that.
is the Hollywood archetype of what um passion is, and I feel bad for people who actually need to go that route to generate passion. Me, I generate passion at the drop of a hat, but then again, that's just me. Some people need to be fed. In other words, they call it stoking the fire. In the same way you would take a fire poker in the fireplace, you would move the logs around so the logs can turn and the fire can reignite. I feel bad for those people that can't generate that type of passion just by existing. Some people need to, it's almost akin to what they call adrenaline junkies. In order to feel alive, they need to engage in something that's going to send their heart up to 180 beats per minute just to make them feel alive. I'm like, partner, I wake up, the sun's shining. I'm passionate right there. I sit down and write about something. I'm passionate there. I go cut my lawn. I'm passionate there. I mean, I find passion in the most benign things, if you will. The funny thing, year before last, I think it was. I'm sitting in my back. Well, shouldn't say sitting in my backyard. I'm actually walking through my backyard cutting it, and I see a couple of butterflies, but they're in moth. I'm sorry, they're in caterpillar form. And I just started sitting back and I started thinking about the march of the monarch. Now, for a lot of people that don't think like I do, they say, well, okay, well, what does that mean? The march of a monarch for me is the transition from that caterpillar to a butterfly, and I relate that from a young boy being born, a prince, to him ascending to being king. What transitions or what transformation does that caterpillar undergo that's going to turn it into a butterfly? The same thing I look at as a boy transitioning from a young prince into a king. So let's look at that. Let's look at that in terms of sexuality. What do we undergo as young boys and young girls from the time that we are 9 or 10, from the time that we enter puberty into the time we get to be about 18, 19, 20, graduating high school, where puberty is finished, but now we're experimenting with our sexuality. You
Well, when
know,
I was 9 or 10, I wasn't experimenting with a doggone thing, to be honest with you.
well, no, I don't
So
think none of us
so it was
was.
like, huh?
I don't think any of us was. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when we get out of puberty, when we start actually dealing with nowadays, we have to look at when you start dealing with the same gender or the opposite gender, or you don't know what your gender is, or you're thinking of all this and you're thinking of all that. What do you do in the meantime when you're trying to flush out all of that? Because
Well,
the
I don't
reason
know. I
why
mean,
we're
I don't know what you do in the meantime, but because what you do in the what it seems like a lot of us do in the meantime is we watch. And so, like I saw two cats fucking in my backyard when I was like 10, and that taught me that they do it just like we do it. I didn't know that. I didn't know who else
Mhm.
knew that, but I didn't know that. Now, and I had cats, which is why I had one cat. His name was Muffet, and he was like the outdoor cat. Like he was going out, he would just go. He'd come back sometime, he'd have his ass whooped. Sometimes he wouldn't. He'd just go. He was like an indoor alley cat. Then we had Snowball. That was my mom's cat. That cat hated me, and I hated that cat. It was an all white cat, and it never went outside. But just the differences in how they did things. And so I figured out why Muffet was coming home with his ass beat a lot, because he was out there taking these other cats, and bringing them home to my yard. So that was like the first thing that I ever really saw. It's like these cats doing it. And how about this? They was doing it missionary. Like that was some serious shit for a girl of my age to see. Like the cats just doing it like that. And so I realized at that point, this is something else that I learned about me. Now that wasn't my sexual experience. I just saw that shit in the backyard because like it blew my mind that it happened. But what that taught me about me was that I was extremely curious at that time just about how different things reproduce. So I guess the answer to what you do in the meantime, in the discovery of yourself, you got to look at other stuff doing it. I mean, I guess that's just natural. I mean, how else do you learn except for watching before it's time for you to do? Like,
yeah. So
Anita,
so
we didn't talk about
oh,
what
okay.
your favorite sex was.
Oh shoot.
And Anita came in with a glass too. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking pink Moscato.
Right. Okay.
My favorite color, pink. So it
Okay.
depends. It depends. If we're out partying, I like drunk sex. I think it's fun. If we're both drinking and partying, it gets a little wild. Up against the wall, over the bed, sometimes in the
Well,
passenger
go, Anita.
seat. Sometimes I'm a little bit I can be very dominant, and some guys don't like that. It feels like, I guess, emasculating. But sometimes I could be submissive. Sometimes I'll let them take control, whatever. But I like morning sex too.
Like wake up,
Morning.
like you like being woke up, or do you wake up
No,
and do the waking up? Because he don't wake me up out my sleep. I found
I
that out
I do the waking
late.
up. I do the waking up.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Well, my thing is, if you're gonna
I'm
wake
always
me
ready in
up,
the morning.
if you're going to wake me up, you better make it worth my while because
Right, don't
I'm
wake
not
me up
gonna
to
be
make me do
happy
work.
if you don't wake me up. If you wake me up, I'm not gonna be happy, and if it sucks.
Uh,
Listen to me. Listen, okay, so this is what let me know that I don't like. I would just rather it not happen because I had this person wake me up out of a sound sleep with nothing more than like the flick of a nipple or some shit. And I'm thinking, you're thinking things are about to get started. And as soon as I woke up and started stirring, he just moved my hand over to his shit. And I was like, did you seriously just wake me up and just lay back? Like, and then so I literally got a tweak of the nipple. And that was it. Like, what the fuck? So now we're fighting, and now we can't do anything because now I'm just calling you a lazy lover, and that's just it. So my experiences was waking. Now I've had some good experiences, but I just generally don't like it. I would just prefer, you know,
Well, I would say
maybe
if
depend
you're
on how
going
they
to wake
look.
me
Maybe
up,
it depend on how they look.
if you're going to wake me up, please do not be a selfish person. Don't wake me up for that. Be unselfish because I'm going to be unselfish. So don't wake me up to be selfish because now I'm mad. I'm mad at you now. You could
Right.
I
let
met
you
somebody
could have
one
let
time.
somebody.
I met somebody one time that wanted me to have sex with him with a strap on, and I thought it was really
Okay.
not my thing.
Tender boy.
I didn't do it. I don't have one. It was not my cup of tea.
Tender
That that
boy.
that ended
That
before it
actually has
started.
a name. That has a name. It's
Hello.
It's
called
called
Oh,
run.
pegging.
it's
Pegging.
called
Yes,
pegging. It has a
called
name.
Yeah.
pegging.
And there are many people out
You have
there.
to go upstairs for
I
that.
haven't
Tiffany's
ran
run.
across any of
Yes,
them.
what?
I
I'll
haven't
be a
run
minute.
across any, but there are many people apparently that like that.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
be up
that
and I'll
wasn't my
talk to you
cup
when
of
I come
tea.
upstairs.
That's not my cup of tea. Giving or receiving, not my cup of tea. In fact, when I went to the gynecologist, they had to give me an anal exam for whatever
Jesus.
reason. And after they were done, the nurse was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Well, I prefer to have my anal muscles intact, but I guess I'm okay." I say all
I
kinds of crazy things at the doctor's office.
Hey, just be grateful
So
you don't have a
so
be grateful you don't have a prostate.
so I
listen. We
want
got
to
a whole
give
bunch of
a
other stuff. You
lesson.
go ahead and keep that prostate. We got a whole bunch of other stuff that go out of whack. So
No,
the
no, no, no,
yes,
no,
and your
no.
ovaries, Jesus. Oh, I know where it's
No.
Yeah.
at and what you meant.
Okay.
I know where it's
So
at and what you meant.
I want to give a lesson to the fellas, okay? This is a life lesson, okay? Don't do what she tells you not to do. And I'll give you an example. And Greg, you may not know that many men that are into pegging, but there's a whole genre for it on certain sites. Okay, so the moral of this story is when someone says don't. I spent a lot of money and I had went and I got my hair done. It's probably looking like this. But anyway, I went and got my hair done. And you could not tell me my hair wasn't flat. So I say we can do this, but do not touch my hair. What happened? This mug drove an airplane through my hair. So
Oh,
Oh,
everything comes to a
no.
screeching halt. It's like, hold up, game over. It's like we got a major problem right here. Everything goes out the window at that point because I have already said to you, do not touch my hair. So if you're gonna, well, that resulted in that was the end of that, and now you have to send me right back to the hairdresser that I just left 2 hours ago because my hair is no longer like it was. Life lesson: if she says no, don't do it. Please listen. You know, everybody should know you don't touch a woman's hair unless you're invited to do something. Life
Well, look,
lesson.
here's my life lesson about the hair thing. I don't necessarily have like, cause I feel like if we're having sex, like I listen, if I'm worried about my hair, then you know, some things not going right. But here's what I will say, ladies, if you are wearing any type of artificial hair, I'm gonna need you to make sure that it is securely tacked down. I'm gonna need you to make sure that, ladies, because here's the story. And so, you know, men do this, get it in. This is when the ponytails used to be, in style, the little clip-in ponytails and stuff. And clearly I had not clipped my ponytail in the way that it should have been clipped. And so we done did the do, everything is done. We are great. I done got up. I'm in the bathroom while he's making up the bed. I come out to see him doing a whole karate chop move on the pillow because he thought that it was a rat on the pillow. So he's doing a whole karate chop, like, so, you know, it created another moment. Luckily, me and this person were really, really tight. And so, like, we was able to just laugh it off because I fell over laughing. But ladies, listen, make sure you got your fucking hair on. Okay, make sure it's extra secure. So that's one of the lessons I learned, from the
I
marriage.
have a
I'm
life.
saying, since I wanted my hair to be cute for at least 24 hours. And I
Well,
just
then,
wanted
Tiff,
it to
you
be
just
cute for
shouldn't do
24
nothing then.
hours.
Oh my God, they gotta stop
Hey, I
that stuff
tried
out here.
to
You
talk.
be sleeping on your pillow like this too.
No, ma'am.
You be,
No, ma'am.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
That was a different scenario. I mean, that was a lesson that you listen. I was rather young then, and I wanted my hair to stay cute for 24 hours. Okay, every time I get my hair done does not mean you have to wreck it. Okay, this is history. Stop wrecking my hairdo. Okay, I just got it done.
I
Let me
can
stay
see
like
it
that
now.
for
I can see
24
it.
hours.
Well,
I can
well,
see
wouldn't
it.
putting
Tell
in work,
yourself.
well, wouldn't putting in work require you to have some sweat? Maybe sweat your hair style out or something.
Well,
Wouldn't
I
that be a
thought
risk to go into it anyway with your hair done?
That is different from somebody airplaning you. Just, that's a whole
He
different
was trying
scenario.
to see was it
These
real.
I mean,
I've never had
damn.
these, so of
If
course it
you
was real.
if you try to figure out if a woman hair is real while y'all getting it in, I don't know.
I just
That
think it's
that's just a
stupid.
whole nother level right there.
Latoya,
but
what's
Right.
your
That's
favorite?
your
What's your
primary
brolic?
concern.
What's your favorite type of sex, brolic T? When you talk about your favorite type,
Um,
Nothing hurt but a lick.
I mean,
ha 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 ha. I mean, I've had. I'm gonna be totally honest. I've had angry sex. I've had punishment sex. I've had um makeup sex. My favorite type though would probably be rough sex though. If he ain't pulling my hair, he ain't doing it right.
see,
because see, that's
Tiff.
just not my thing.
Wait a
It
minute
just
now. Wait a
leaves me.
minute, Sherelle. I'm gonna say this one more time. I was extra young when it happened. That was literally decades ago. Okay. Okay. I've evolved. I was
One
young
thing
with a
that
bug.
one thing that happened to me is uh, his testicles were extra long, and I guess it's a birth defect or something. I don't know what it's called really,
Blue
but he
balls. You hadn't had any in a while.
Elephant
no,
nuts.
no, not blue balls. I'm saying like his
Bad
testicles
Santa.
were naturally bigger than average, and he talked to me about it, but I was like, okay, how big could they really be?
The
Yeah, it was awkward. Awkward. Yeah, and I don't
Well,
like it.
I
I don't
mean,
like my hair being pulled. Like, if you just caress like that, that's fine. But my mom used to pull my hair when I was being sassy, so it brings a lot of
Negative connotation.
negative connotation when somebody pulls my hair. That instantly cuts the mood. No. But yeah, that was, and then I had somebody else that didn't tell me about it, and I was like, oh my god, it was just a turn off because I wasn't expecting it. Like two guys have that same thing. Like
oh,
I don't
I'm
know what
sorry.
it's
My
called,
man
but
was. I'm sorry. My man was
It is
somewhere else when she said
it
two
is
guys.
necessary, ladies, to do the touch test. It is necessary to
The
do
tip
the
test.
touch test
Yeah.
so
Yes.
that your heart don't be broken later on and you don't be ready to fight. It is necessary to do the touch test, okay?
Somebody has to
And
explain
for
to me what that is because I've
I
never
was
those
heard of
about
of
to
that.
you
say,
that do
explain
not
that
know
because
what,
I don't
for
think they
like,
those
know
of
yeah.
what
you,
that means.
oh,
Like, when do
got
you do
you.
it?
For
When do you do
you,
it?
okay. So for those of you who do not, I call it the tip test. My fingertips gotta graze it. I need to be able to, because when you do not, ladies, you could find yourself in a world of hurt. Because number one, listen, something else that I have learned is that most guys that brag about size it's not there. They don't have, because a dude that has the size, or a dude that's confident enough, they know what they're bringing to the table. Very seldom are they going out here talking about how big it is. And so for me, this dude, he was gorgeous, and I just took it for granted that everything was gorgeous, and it was not. And I found out quite too late in the whole ordeal. I had to become a contortionist and shit for this thing to really happen, because I did not do a tip test. And that is where you are measuring the length. That can happen during, like when they used to call it necking, like when you're making out and all of that stuff, and when hands are roaming freely, his hands should not be the only hands that are roaming freely. You need to be perusing the territory too, ladies. I don't listen. That's the time where all the lady goes out the door. You've been a lady in the streets. Now it's time to be a freak in the bed, and you need to be tip testing everything so that your heart is not broken. Now, whether you decide to call it quits, if it don't work out, that's on you. But I'm telling you, you don't have. Let me be a cautionary tale to you. You do not have to go through this heartbreak, because there is no heartbreak like the heartbreak you feel after you have done your whole ritual, showering and shaving and all this. I truly believe that when a woman like goes to her ritual and shaves all of her parts and all that stuff, if she doesn't get any good dick, I truly believe that like 10 unicorns just drops down there and takes away all the happiness and joy from the world for at least 30 minutes. Like, it's ridiculous. Your heart will be broken. So, ladies, just do the grip test. Like, feel it, touch it, all of that. Prepare
You
yourself.
know, the crazy part is I dated somebody when I was in college a long time ago. And this was one of those blind date things where I let somebody hook me up, and I never let people hook me up. I've been hooked up twice in my life, and one of the two times I regretted it. Neither here nor there. The other time, well, anyway, so I meet this guy. He's cool. I mean, he's tall, he handsome, he everything. We get to talking or whatever, and he was forward about it. He was just like, "Look, I got a little dick." So
And you want to
I
think
kind
they're
of laughed it
playing.
off because I thought he was
Like, you
being
want to think
humble.
that they're playing, that they're being
No, but
humble.
no, listen. Listen. We was just talking on the phone. This is before we had ever even gotten to that point. he was like, I'm telling you now, I have a little dick. So I thought he was being humble about the situation. I thought he was being humble, right? Because I'm used to dudes talking about, I'm going to break your back and I'm going to bust it down and all that. And he was just like, look, I'm telling you now, I got a little dick. It's skimpy. And I was just like, oh, you know, maybe he was trying to be humble, right? Girl, we finally get to that point, and I fell, and I was just like, this motherfucker did not lie at all. I was more
Now see
upset
that
that he
touch
was
test.
honest. I was like, yo,
If you had done the
I
tit
couldn't
test,
just be,
The touch
I couldn't just
test.
have been him being humble. He was being very honest that he just didn't have nothing down there. When I tell you, his thing was no bigger than my fist like this. That was it.
Where's
That's all he
the
had.
echo
look,
now?
look, I don't want to bash the little dude. I really don't. But, you know,
There's some. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's some background noise that's going
Yeah,
on.
we're getting
That's making
feedback.
it hard to hear.
Is that better?
we know
Yeah.
who it is. It's always
Yeah.
the beaters. You need to put in your headphones. No, I don't
Okay.
have, because this was a good dude. This was everything else about this dude was great. There's no complaint. He was a gentleman. Like, he flew me in. Like, it just, everything was. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that. It's that I have learned that do not let the looks fool you. That all the glitters ain't gold, and just because
Yes,
he's looking like a
definitely.
flat drink of water doesn't mean that the faucet is working all that great. Like, you need to do your due diligence.
The
Like,
analogies,
for
And
man.
real.
then and then what made it worse is that he sucked at eating pussy too. So I was just like, dude,
He this dude was
you
horrible
had
at all
nothing
of it.
going for
He
him.
was
I was just
horrible
like,
at
what
all of
the
it.
fuck?
He
My
was
See, this is
God.
horrible
what
at
turns into
all
You
of
could
it.
overlook a
a
little thick if you could at least eat pussy, but he couldn't even do that. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, whose idea was this?
And then
I'm gonna
Oh
the
need
thing
man.
is, that's when they sweat on you, and when they're sweating, you're not even doing nothing, and I'm laying there feeling violated, and he's thinking that he's
Girl,
doing everything, and
stop
that
this
You're
bead of
doing
sweat
bullying.
something.
just
Like,
comes
get
off
off
of him
me.
and hits you in the forehead. Oh
Get
my
off
Ugh.
god!
me.
Like, oh my god! Oh my god! It's
Oh,
crazy.
like, get
I
Guys,
mean,
if
off
you
me.
guys, do
Don't
know,
y'all
call
have
me no
stories
more.
like this? Because, like, we have stories for days. Like, do y'all have stories like this where you just was thinking that
right.
it was just gonna be all that? Like, you maybe have been, looking for this one, trying to get with this person, and then you get it, and it's just like, oh my god,
So
uh-huh.
trash.
I
Guys,
want to know if y'all have stories like that.
Oh
I have
man.
stories.
Where you be
Guys, if
rolled up
you,
in the
if
corner,
Hell yeah,
ponder,
size
where you
matter,
be rolled
Greg.
up in the corner, pondering all your life
Only time
decisions up to
size
that
don't matter
point.
is when you can compensate in some other way. If you can't
Woo!
compensate, you are
Right.
shit
Just
out of
size
listen.
luck.
matters to me.
No,
Guys,
size
if
Just
you
does
know
listen.
that
matter.
you
I do.
are,
It does. It does matter. But
it does to me.
what matters more is your skill with it. Because on the flip side of that, you
Yes,
have
you can have a
somebody
big one
that's
and
a
not know how to use
monster.
it.
And he's just going around like a bull in a china shop, just
Y'all funny.
knocking shit over, just beating you upside the head with
Yes,
this big old stick with no type of finesse or nothing. It's
yes,
like, no, you need to know
that's
how to,
terrible.
like, control that monster. Like, it's a horrible experience to have to
Mm,
deal with that type of a thing. And so, no, size absolutely matters, but
it
skill
does.
absolutely matters
And
too.
that's
Yes,
exactly
it
why
does.
I said you cannot be selfish. If you know you walking around with tree stumps, okay, learn to be good at what you do without causing. Nobody wants to be rearranged internally just to get what you you know
Mm-mm.
what I'm saying. I want to keep all of my energy
Nope.
in the right places. So I'm just saying,
Mhm.
learn to be good at what you
I
do.
don't want it coming out my
Study this
throat.
book. I don't care. Huh?
Now,
Go
I
ahead.
have learned about myself that it really does, depending on, looks matter to me a lot more than, well, at this, I don't even want to say a lot more than I like to admit, because I don't give a shit about admitting it. I happen, people's eyes get to do a little bit of a dance when they look at me. If some dude, is approaching me because they find me attractive, that means that I'm checking off all the boxes on whatever the list it is that he has that I don't know about. Now, if my eyes can't do a little shimmy when I look at you too, then we ain't got nothing to talk about. So if that makes me shallow, then it makes me shallow. But what I do know is that, depending on how you look, you may get away with, doing some things that maybe a little fella can't do. You either got the type of swag that can get me
No,
doing
ma'am.
whatever it is that you want,
No
or you
way.
don't.
No,
And so
ma'am.
that's it. This is why we talking about just for me, just like
You could
Taylor
be
was talking
Idris
about
Elba
your hair.
fine. I do not want it in my back door. Stay out of there.
No,
I
never,
don't give a shit.
never.
No.
Listen, so
Could be
hear
Idris
me
Elba
with that.
fine. The answer still is hell no.
Listen to me. So I'm a firm believer. I am a firm believer, and I can try anything once because you never know what you like. And if I don't like it, I never have to do it again. But if I do like it, then I just found a new account. Like I love it. So when I was pregnant with my kids, like sex was just uncomfortable. So of course we're looking at porn and stuff, and we see the backdoor action. And those ladies look like they're having a really wonderful time.
Shit, some of them
Look,
probably were high as
They're
kites
paid a
too.
lot of
listen,
money to look that way.
listen.
Saria,
Because
let
they
me
Some of
look
them be
like
high
they
as
were
Saria,
kites.
having a good
Saria,
time.
let me jump
We
in here for 10
tried it.
seconds. Let me jump in here for 10 seconds. The first time that I was introduced to it, a female said, "Do it."
Well, that's great for you. I
No,
listen.
I'm just putting it
Well,
out there that
no,
men
it's
don't
a
always
lot of.
initiate it.
No, some
I
females
know.
do
And
initiate that. That is very
in that
much true.
instance, that's not what I was
They
saying
get
because
curious and they want to know.
No, she didn't
the
want to know.
story that I'm trying to
She enjoys it.
tell, in the story that I was trying to tell, we both decided that we were going to do it because regular sex was uncomfortable and because we were looking at the porn and those women looked as though they were having like this wonderful time. We discussed it and we're like, okay, well, we could try because they look like they're having fun. And let me tell you, no, it's not fun. There's nothing about it for me that was fun. It's not about finding the right person. It's not, that's just like liver. I don't fucking like liver. It doesn't matter who cooks liver. It doesn't matter how they cook it. If
That
they
shit is
special sauce
disgusting.
it. I
Ugh.
just don't like it. It's the same thing. I'm not an ass fucker. So I don't want to do that. Like I've learned that. So for me,
What's wrong with a pain in the
no.
ass though?
I mean, you tell me. Shit.
If we can return the
When you
favor,
can
I'm
tell me,
game.
then I can tell you.
Right. If we can return the favor, I'm game. Let me go there with you first. You tell me how it is. If you like it, hey, maybe I'll try it. Them women on
No.
porn get paid a lot of money to make it look real. And that's one of the misleading things to young men. Young men look at porn and they really think this is real life. They don't understand that there's things that happen for those guys to be able to do what they do and for those women to be able to do what they do. That is
Well,
not
look.
real life all the
Well,
time.
listen. I probably had to learn that lesson too because I'm a voyeur, and so I was looking, and this is when I learned that fantasy and reality are two different things, and there are some
Exactly.
things that you need to leave to the spank bank. You don't need to
Mm-hmm.
try to do that shit for real because you will
Mm-hmm.
hurt yourself. Like there are some things that you don't really want to do. Like some women believe that they want to be hung over a banister or some crazy shit like that. No, you don't really want that. How do I know? Ask me how I know. Because like I thought that that would be some cool shit because I saw it on the phone. I was afraid for my life. Like no, it
No, you was.
wasn't. Like it wasn't fun.
Let,
Okay.
Nothing.
let
I
me
have
add
So
a
when
real
I
tip.
quick.
worked at the casino, Trina, when I worked at the casino, there was a couple that really thought it was a good idea to go onto the upper deck and be intimate on the banister. Well, end game is we had to call the Coast Guard to get her out the water because it didn't work out well. Like you cannot follow what the stuff is that you see on TV. Can you imagine trying to be intimate? You have red lights, blue lights. There's announcements going all out over the over the announcements. The entire marina is looking and listening. Some things you have to be a little more realistic about and do them in a more controlled environment. And just for
Hey,
the record, Dave, you think you slick. You've been sitting over there quiet like you're a little ear
He was
warrior or
about to
something.
say
Open your
something.
mouth and start
Mm-hmm.
talking, my dude.
First
He
of
probably
all,
taking
it's
notes.
it's hard to yeah, I've been dominating the thing.
they
What
don't
I
understand that.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is, like, far as guys, a lot of times we're misinformed. Growing up, we're misinformed. If you're
As
not
you
getting
are.
if you're not getting a message from somebody older, your dad telling you about it, you're hearing it from some guys that's older around the neighborhood, or maybe some of your friends that may call themselves more experienced. So we get a lot of myths and misinterpreted on certain things. So a lot of times we go into this sex 101 thing, whatever, kind of blindfolded, really not knowing what's going on, and based on things that we heard or how things supposed to be. So I think that's always, and I don't know if it's the same far as you ladies, whatever, but I
Yeah.
done had some friends that
So
would
what's
talk like
something
they
that
was
they told you that
gladiators.
was completely different when you did it? What was something that they told you that like just was a no?
They used to just say wow stuff, whatever, just like because I was kind of a late
I bet you
bloomer.
fingering
They,
was probably one of those stupid things they told them about because no guy has ever figured that shit out.
no, it just used to be stuff that just I was a late bloomer and I was more picky, and I had friends that if they could get it, they could get it. They didn't give a damn what the person looked like. They
Right.
Yeah.
could be they could be disabled or whatever the
Yeah.
case is. Long as they could brag about it that they had something, they was
Wow.
okay. And I would be like, okay, well, you can have that. I'm doing that. And it's just be wild stuff, whatever. Just things like how they used to be hitting it, the sound effects and all of that stuff. And I'm young hearing this. I mean, we're all the same age, but I'm a late bloomer, and they're saying all this stuff. Oh man, I tore this up, whatever. All you can hear is this. Just little stuff, and I'm like, really? And they would just come up with stuff, whatever. So I would always say, man, I want my experience. And they used to kind of laugh at me. I said, I want my experience to be more better. I want it to be with somebody that I love, that I care. And they were like, man, you sound dumb as fuck, man. My father said this and my uncle said this and ever. So
You
it was
sound
always
dumb
like
as
some
fuck.
wild story.
So were there any lessons that you learned about discretion?
No, I always learned that I always kept my stuff to myself, whatever. Even once I start engaging in it, I wasn't
Mhm.
quick to come back and share every little detail. It was more so like another notch in their tool belt every time they did something. So they would be waiting. Come on, man. I know she like you, whatever. You like her. I know you hit that. And I wouldn't be one that want to reveal everything that happened because you never know who's going to run with that information. So I always was kind of
Mhm.
protecting our private life, me and that person's thing. I'm not one that openly put it out there like that.
Did you watch
And the
Well,
thought,
see the movie The Wood
Yeah, the
where they
well,
had
yeah,
the
yeah,
Yeah.
bet?
yeah.
Did you have a bet? Did y'all have a bet?
No, I think they used to
That's a
have little.
yes.
They used to have little bets, whatever. They used to have little bets between themselves and like, yo, I know you left with her last night. So did you hit it? All right, I got some money, whatever. I told them you was gonna get that or whatever the case is. I was
yeah,
never
that
the one.
happens.
Yeah, I was never the one. Like,
Un,
okay, let's
un,
place the bet.
guys need to
un,
know a lot. Guys need to know something. If you're average, please don't whip out a Magnum. That is the most embarrassing thing for both of us. I'm serious. It happened. It happened. And it was so embarrassing. I thought I was going to get a Magnum, and it was average. And I'm thinking, like, the whole time, why are you whipping out a Magnum when you know you should know by now? I mean, you're not young.
Wishful thinking. He was wishing. He
Also,
like,
Living
we
in the
know.
land of delusion.
also, if I say we're not going to do it in a certain position or don't go down there like that, it may be because I have gas and I don't want it on you.
Shit.
Stinking eye.
I mean, it's true. Some positions I can't hold it.
Oh wow.
I'm just being truthful. Come on now. Nobody ever
I
had
mean,
gas in
hey,
their house.
we with you. I'm with you. I am with you. Do not. If they say no, just say no.
I want to circle back around to what Sarita was talking about with the whole exploration thing. Now, for women, there's a lot of trick tools that can be used to deceive men, and one of the things I've always found, and now that I'm really cognizant of as I age, is the padded bra thing. And fellas, don't be misled by the padded bra thing. She's
Sip
got a
test.
nice set. Yes, search, plot,
Sip test.
poke.
I tell everybody, look, I have been part of the itty bitty titty committee for a very long time. My aunties used to tell me that they'll grow if I pull on them. Like I learned that shit is not true. It's not fucking true.
No,
So
you have
Dave, you
to
talk about the
feed them, Sherelle.
misinformation.
You
You
have to
talk about
feed
the
them when you eat.
misinformation, Dave, that you guys get. Yes, we get misinformation. Yeah, I know you've had the gym teacher that used to go around telling the girls to do this shit. No, doesn't work. I've been the same size since I was a kid. That's it. So now I did enjoy the padded bra era. I did enjoy it, but I was always so honest about it that by the time a guy had gotten to that point, like he didn't care anymore. But it's because I didn't want mofo's just finding out. Like like you see, you take the bra off and the titties come off with it. Like all of the titties is in the padding. So like,
Doesn't
no,
it
it's
remind you of that movie,
embarrassing.
I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker? That movie, I'm
Yes.
Gonna Get You,
Yes. Everything starts coming off. The hair, the leg, Lord.
Sucker. Everything.
Uh,
I'm
that
still
Everything.
a
was
fan of
terrible. I was
Victoria's
like,
Secret
oh
padded
no.
bra underwire. It's comfortable to me. So if they don't
Underwear
like
is
what I have
outrageous.
under
So
it,
here,
oh well for them.
what I also
And
learned is that at the end of the day, like guys they don't really care about like extra pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like
okay,
at
we
least this
think
has
they
been
care about it.
this has been my experience because I ain't never been. I have always had an issue with my stomach. I always wanted to be flatter, and I'm always doing stuff. Y'all see me doing stuff on my page, like it's so. But the one thing I can say is I ain't never been kicked up out of the bed about having a bulge in my tummy. And so when I used to complain about not, having big breath, I found out that, depending on, sometimes, depending on who you are, how you've made this person feel, like some of those things just really don't matter once you get into the thick of it. Like it really doesn't. Now them inches, I'm sorry, it's not nothing we can do about them inches. Now if you ain't working with a whole bunch of inches, inches to me matter in humans, hair, and heels. Okay, once I go longer, I can't go shorter. It just doesn't make any sense.
I
I
just think that come with maturity. That just come with maturity. You have to know that there's
what
going to
comes
be
with
some
maturity?
imperfections, whatever. Like there's not going to be this um, perfect model of an individual that you say, she had a gut. It was just
Yeah, some
too
people
much,
don't. Some
whatever.
some people don't know that.
They
Break it
they
to you.
might be
Some people
fooling
don't know that.
themselves, whatever. They
They
Yeah,
just
fooling
be
that's what
They
themselves
are
because I'm
fooling
telling you, like
themselves.
I said, it's a
I,
wonderful thing.
and I think part of and I believe you mentioned this earlier, Saria, with the backdoor action. I think a lot of people they get their ideas and their concepts from things that aren't average. And Kevin
Hmm.
Samuels always talks about the average. And if we look at the totality of humanity, we all fall into the average range. Some people fall into less than average. Some people fall into the exceptional range. So, and this is honestly how they make condoms. They make condoms for the average person. So it's like Anita said, if you're reaching for something that you don't need, you're gonna look foolish. And if it comes off in the process, y'all gonna have a whole different set of worries to concern yourselves with.
Well,
So
just for the record, I'm a unicorn superstar, so I don't know if I can relate to that.
well, I mean, either way it comes down, you have. Let's look at it like this: you have some men that are breast men, you have some men that are gluteus men, you have some men that are leg men. So if they fixate on a certain part and that's what draws them to a female, regardless of all the other stuff, if that's their primary desire, is to have a woman that endows that certain physical characteristic, and it's just like Scorpio T, I'm sorry, Brother T was talking about. Even if you tell them, they're gonna say, no, 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 I don't believe you because that's what they're fixated on. So now that they're fixated on it and they get to the point and they're just like, oh wow, you weren't lying. But the letdown is internal.
Yes.
And you just like, okay, you know what?
The touch test is important. You must touch. You must
When I
reach.
touched and I realized that he was telling the truth, my whole heart was just like, why?
Surface.
Why?
Surface.
So even with what you said, even with what you said, Herb, I think the thing that people forget, I think the thing that people forget is that skill does have its place. Okay, skill does have its place, and you cannot learn skill if the only person you're ever concerned about is you. So skill has its place. They used to say, what was the old adage? It's not the size of the ship or something. It's the motion of the ocean.
It's the motion in the ocean.
Yeah. Because if your ship is only 2 inches long, then listen, it's no motion that you're gonna be able to really control. You better have a nice tongue action. You better have something else going on besides them 2 inches.
So let me ask you this.
What's that?
So when you say skill, how do you get skilled in that unless it's based on experience? You have to have partners and opportunities.
You have to have experience.
So if you don't,
you can take the one partner and you guys can learn and grow together. It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't mean you gotta jump around.
That's not necessary.
And that's the thing.
Your partner can learn together.
That's the thing. The partner has to be willing to say, okay, I'm not going to try to shame you. It didn't work out this time. Let me tell you, I like it. I like it like this, or you need to do this. Slow down, or this is the right spot, and all that stuff. It has to be communication to get to a certain point. If you already,
I think the song said something about a yellow light, not too fast, not too slow, yellow lighted. I mean, learning your partner means you have to be in tune to their body. Because usually your body will tell on you even when your mouth won't. So you really have to be in tune and paying attention to what's happening. One is the giver, one is the receiver. You can't be both.
All right, let me to that.
I need your mouth and your body to be saying the same thing, because I don't know about anybody else, but if you don't have some person that's just laying there and you putting in grade A work and they're not saying anything, like that's the issue for me. I'm gonna need you to be vocal, grunt at this, do something. Like let me know that you still awake. Like I can't stand somebody that's too macho to moan. Like that makes no sense to me. So for me, a part of it being a full experience for me, because I'm sorry, I quite honestly believe that we have to deal with each other's bullshit everywhere else and in every other aspect of the relationship that we have. The one place where I'm not about to take a whole bunch of bullshit is in the bedroom. You need to get that shit right, because I done put in time and work to make sure that I'm getting it right. So no, I need the full I need some thought to go into it. And for me, because I'm a polyamorous woman and I'm a single woman, for me, the answer is yes. I'm going to experiment with the things that I like. Like I said, I'm not into ass fucking. That doesn't mean that the person that's with me all of a sudden never gets to do it again, because I feel like that's selfish. You could just get to do that with somebody else. You're not doing it with me. I understand the consequences of that boundary, but that's the boundary. It's not happening with me. So that's just where I'm at with that. So, I'm happily single. I'm enjoying experimenting. It's a few that I'm about to be out of nano mode in just a second. Don't worry about it. This
But that
whole
Uma?
thing
also
got me
goes back
going.
to what I said. When you're the receiver, it is your job to relay what you like. Okay, the giver, it's their job to receive that message and continue giving you what it is that you like. So you cannot be a giver and receiver at the same time necessarily. There are some people who are skilled enough to be able to do that. However, if you are the receiver, it is your job to give him or her the feedback saying, this is exactly what I want. If you're not mature enough to have a conversation about what you like and what you want and what your expectations are, you probably shouldn't be engaging in things until you have become um, a little more receptive to what your partner has to say or what it is your partner desires and what it is your partner wants. There are things that are not going to be on the table, period, Pooh, no matter who you are. There are just some things that are just not going to be on the table, and you have to be okay with their limitations. Again, you can do some other things that might get you to where you need to be. Like so if I decide that tomorrow I want every man that I'm intimate with to dress up in cowboy boots and a lasso, then I mean I'm gonna need you to dress up in cowboy boots and a lasso. If you decide not to, I can promise you I can pull something up or I can see somebody that's going to dress up in cowboy boots and a lasso. All I'm saying is that there has to be an open field. One has to be the giver, one has to be the receiver, and both have specific jobs to do. That's it.
Well, yes,
One of
I
the
am
worst
not.
experience I've had was he was like jumping or like a rabbit. I was like, and it was only
Oh, what do you mean?
three
What do you
jumps.
mean?
Anita,
Wait,
where do
wait a
you
minute. What do you
find these
mean?
people from?
What do
Was
you
that
mean?
big balls boy? No wonder he was jumping like a
What do
rabbit.
Oh
you
But see,
mean?
no,
Baby
Anita
no,
has a
rabbit.
point. What goes
we
back
were
to
dating
her
for a
point is,
while before we
uh-huh.
engaged in intimacy. So I thought it was going to be bomb because we built up all this, sexual tension. And then it was like, I was on the bottom and it was like, hop, hop, hop. And he was done.
His
I was like,
balls was too big. That's
are you for real? I
Did
left.
he
I was like,
sweat?
no, I
Did he
can't.
sweat too? He didn't. Did
I
he
don't.
sweat?
I don't even know. I was so like done. I just left.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna
Wow.
It
tell
was
you something.
horrible.
I'm gonna tell you something. I have always, out of my group of friends, I was literally the last one. Okay, and I've always been really selective about who and what I choose to do.
That's the
Do
worst.
you know how many times this is a life lesson, men? Please don't LOD. Okay, don't
Huh?
lie on your D, because you would
Oh,
be surprised at how many times I heard the rumor that I was intimate with somebody, half of which I didn't even know. I'm like, I don't even know this person. So, but people, that's one of them life lessons. Just don't do that. Just don't do that. You don't get no brownie points for
Wow.
LODing. I'm just saying.
I
that
have a
feed.
question for the guys. So, two guys that I dated for a while, they did not like um, oral pleasure, I'll
Uh-oh.
say. So, is that true that not all guys like that? Because I was astonished. I was like, I thought all guys like that.
I will speak for myself. I'm selective in as I said prior, I'm selective in who I do what with, and my experiences. I will lay this out in as much as I can in a descriptive manner. We're not hot dogs.
I don't know
If
what
you
that means.
need to
Please don't
practice,
say you're a Vienna sausage.
if if you need to practice on how to perform proper fellatio without nibbling, please do so. Don't use us
I
as your experimenter. It's not cool.
I'm good at
That
what I
means she ain't
do.
do it
I
right.
mean, and on the flip side, do not use my clit as a button that you kneeling on because a dude did that to me and the whole session was over. Like I heard a crunch and everything. Like it was ridiculous.
Oh shit.
Like, girl, listen to me.
A
He was like,
crunch.
oh, I figure a little pain and pleasure. No, no, no. This is over. Like the whole thing is over. Like
It's not
I
bubble
don't like
gum. You
that's
don't chew
this
on it.
ridiculous. Like I heard a crunch. Like it was ridiculous. Like it was bad. So no, it was bad. It was bad. You don't get too many times. You don't get too many times to like mess up with me in that manner because, like I said, I done took the time to like, I'm studying you and I'm figuring out what it is that you like. I like a lot of foreplay because that's what it's for, to figure out what it is that you like. Like I don't like somebody coming at me like with their cookie cutter moves. Like, have you? I know you've had that where you got somebody that you could tell that they're regimented and they just have this that they do at this time, at this time, and this. It's like clockwork. The sex is the exact same every time they're with you or with anybody. For me, I like taking time and exploring and getting to know your body. Now, when I'm done with all of that and you just hop to it, like I got a problem with that. Like you don't know what it is that I like. You haven't taken the time out. So for me, I found out that I love foreplay. I also like friends with benefit sex too. I mean, but that's just me because I don't get the concept of your friends list being comprised of people that you don't like. I've never really got that concept. But that's just me. Like, that's just me.
I think what that comes well, there's a lot of different ways that can be looked at. A lot of people, or at least let me preface this by saying that. Let me not say a lot of people. A lot of the situations that I read about or come across or I hear about, particularly when it deals with friends with benefits, is scheduling. A lot of people, I'll use myself for example. I work midnights and my schedule right now in the summer, it's full. I barely have time to sleep. And my sleep schedule as it is erratic. I sleep like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I happen to sleep 4 hours this past week, and I was like, that's a major miracle. I never sleep 4 hours at a time. But I was just that exhausted. But you have some people that, they consider them to be sundown. They're not even friends with benefits. They just, hey, look, I need this itch scratch. I know you know what you're doing. It's like Saria say, you know me, I know you. We know how we can pleasure each other, get each other off, so we can go ahead and do our things. It reminds me of being at college, and the rule was, especially in the dorm that I stayed in, where we had the malfunctioning fire alarms. Shout out to Porter Hall. Was that if you stayed over somebody's room, or whether it was a male staying over with a female or a female staying over a male, when that fire alarm came off, you two went out the door and you went the opposite direction. And this is what David was talking about earlier with discretion. This is why I never tell about who I do what with, because I'm a firm proponent, and that's our rule, that whatever I do with whoever I do, I don't care if it's go somewhere, we go out, it better never hit the light of day. If I hear tell about it, we're done. You can't call me. You can't talk to me. You can't even message me on social media. As far as I'm concerned, you're DOA.
Well, I
That's
mean,
just
damn,
how I
I
roll.
ain't covert operating like that. I don't want to be nobody's
I know.
secret,
No, no, no.
but that's
That
cool. I get it. If that's
that's
how it
that's
rolls.
that's just how I roll. So even when I'm in a committed relationship, the only people that need to know is you and I. People say, well, you're being secretive. I said, no, there's no such thing as being secretive when our business is our business. A lot of people, they like to put that out there and they say, well, this is this and this and this. And if you don't do this, then you're trying to hide this. No. And it ain't none of your business who I do what with. And if you don't like it, kick rocks. Drive your Chevrolet. It'll get you fired. That emotional feel you have, it'll get you to wherever you want to go. But it ain't gonna get you to stop at my front door.
Uh,
What you got,
Hey
Debbie?
guys,
What's
I
good?
oops. Damn it. Ooh, my thing came out. Ooh,
What?
ain't that some shit?
Anita?
There we
Yeah,
go.
need
I
to
could.
tighten up.
mean,
Well,
I've
be
had
well ahead of
friends
time.
with benefits before.
Anyway, I
Um,
was about to say I got to go because my dogs are looking at me crazy, like they want to go out and stuff. So it's been real, real, real.
All
So
right,
Well,
I'll
well,
see
just
let
you.
him out.
just mute your feet and listen.
Huh?
Mute your microphone and just listen.
Maybe I will.
Go feed the dog.
Yeah.
What was you about to say?
I said maybe I will. Maybe I got a date. Maybe
Yeah, we know that. I
Either
was about
you
to say
got
that's
one or
what's
you
going
don't.
on. I know what you're doing.
maybe
You
I
on
don't.
TikTok.
DGs.
Okay, TikTok.
Yeah,
You on
maybe I
you know
gotta
what?
TikTok.
download some TikTok.
You on
So I'll see you
TikTok.
guys. I'll see you guys next time.
All
Bye.
right. Thanks for joining us. Be safe.
Well, see, so here's the thing with the friends with benefits. So for me, that is it's a wonderful arrangement. Like I said, when I hear women talk about their friends list or guys complaining that he's been friend listed. See, my friends list is lit. I do friends listing in a completely different way. My friends list is full of mofos that if the moment was right, we be fucking 6 ways to Sunday. Like I said, because I don't get the concept of putting people on a friends list that you don't like. I think that's the lazy way of just trying not to deal with somebody. And for me, if I don't like you, you don't have a list. You're not
Right.
anywhere. You're just
Yeah.
gone. You're
Yeah.
not like I'm not sharing any type of energy with you. You don't need to call and do no temperature check on me. So that's what I'm saying. For me, my friend list, my friend zone is is very different. It's just very different. Relationships is kind of transition with me. We just try and see what works for us to be successful and happy and build good memories. So, friends with benefits has always been a wonderful thing for me. Brolic, you was about to say something about friends with benefits.
I mean, I've had like two friends with benefits that I could think of off the top of my head. One was in college, and when I tell you he was one of the finest brothers on campus, and nobody knew I was smashing that, not a single soul.
That's how
It
it's
was
supposed to
the
go.
crazy
That's
part
how it's
is,
supposed
because,
to be.
but you know what? I've always been that way. I don't like people in my business like that. So it's like people eventually found out, and that was because I was doing a summer program somewhere. He decided he wanted to come visit me. And against my better judgment, I allowed
Violated the
him to
rules.
bring his ass upstairs. And some people that went to the college would have seen him. And it was like, oh my, one girl, I'll never forget it till this day. She's running down the hall screaming his name. And, I didn't think nothing of it because, of course, he had a job on campus. It wasn't like nobody didn't know who he was. So, when we left and got in the car, he was like, he goes to me, he goes, thank you. And I'm like, thank you for what? He goes, that girl don't speak to me when we on campus, right? She don't never say 2 words to me. I can't get her to say hello. But she's screaming my name like I'm some kind of celebrity, all because I'm here to see. I was like, oh, well, you're welcome then. And then it's like when I got back, she was just like, she wanted all the details. She's like, I didn't know that you and him. And I was like, we don't mess around. We're just friends. We're just friends.
Too late. The cat
Friends.
Listen,
jumped out the
in the
bed.
We're just
military, so
friends. It's nothing like that.
in the military, they have rules or they try to have rules for who can be in relationships and who cannot be in relationships. And so, what you have to understand, I was 27 when I went into the military. So, as a
You
third
have
class
to
and second
hold on,
class,
Saria.
yes,
You have to tell people what E7 means. A lot of people don't know military ranks like that.
I didn't say E7. I said I went in at
She said
27.
she was
I
27.
was
I'm
27
sorry.
years
My
old
apologies.
when I joined the military. And so the ranking system, if I was an E1 or an E2, which is the military pay, and it goes by, the authority that you have. From E1 to E3, no authority at all. Starts at E4. And so where the average E4 was going to be 19, 20, I'm 27. Okay. And so the rule about fraternization was that you could not, two up and two down. You could not be more than there could not be more than two ranks separating you, because this person could very well be your superior at one point, and that's just going to cause a conflict of interest. But the rule was a little bit different for me because that rule was based on an 18 or a 19-year-old and what could possibly happen in a situation if they're with the superior officer, whatever. Me being 27 was a little bit different. So when I joined the military, the number so that bet that I asked you guys about, so the first thing is you need to know is that on the ship there is a bet about who's going to be first, second, and third for every chick that comes on that ship, because most of those chicks are 18, 19, 20
Yeah.
coming in. And so there's a bet going on, and it's like, it is. But here's the I came with a plan. I came there with a fresh list, waiting to put some friends with benefits right on to that jank, because no, I was not going to be tied down. I've always felt the same way about marriage. And for me, the military was just about to be just a smorgasbord.
Proving
Like
ground.
a smorgasbord. And so I went in probably with the same mentality as guys do when they're dealing with the female. So I learned a lot about myself when it came to that, and what was acceptable and not acceptable. And you see some weird things, like people on the ship like getting it in the weirdest place. You're not supposed to be having sex on the ship. Sex will find
Say
a
that
way.
again.
You're not supposed to have sex on the ship. That is a rule. And they
Oh
actually
wow.
have men at arms that are patrolling, and they're looking. But here's what happens: with you really think that when the men at arms find somebody having sex, that all of that gets reported? Some of it is a move over type of situation. Or I'm gonna go ahead and report you like move over.
So wait a
So
minute. I'm sorry, sir, but I have to ask for clarity's sake. Is that capital ships or okay? Wait a minute. Let me be specific when I say capital ships. When I'm talking capital ships or ships of man of war, I'm talking about aircraft carriers, destroyers,
I was
frigates.
on an aircraft carrier. If the ship is
Okay,
co-ed, yes, I was on an aircraft carrier, CVN 75. So it was, out to sea. We've got 6,000 people.
right.
If we're inland, it's 3,000. So like a small city. So yeah, there are gonna be all types of relationships. I found out that I am a good long-term relationship type of chick because I've been in the military, and it doesn't make sense to believe that people are going to be confined. When we were out to sea, we're out to sea when we're doing a mission or when we're
So
on
5 6 months.
underway. It longer than that. It can be,
Okay,
6 7 months. If it's during wartime, you could be out there for a year. We're just on the
right.
water. And so, of course, and you're in dangerous situations with one another, and so all of these things are happening, and you're
Bond.
building relationships. You're building bonds and relationships. You don't know if you're going to see the light of day in some situations. You better believe that mofos is finding cubby holes and wherever else it is, where they can get it in, where that frustration. Sometimes it's just that sexual energy. Sometimes it's just that. So it's a different experience in the military. It is. And then trying to transition to civilian mofos, like how they think and I'm just like, oh my God. Like, it's some whining dudes out here, yo.
Well, to me, that'll be like any place. You're probably not supposed to have sex at the workplace, at your average workplace, but
No,
but
because
but
a
but it
scene can
happens.
people gonna cause a scene if they're screwing in the workplace. I mean, but I've done it. I mean, I've done it.
He's a wild girl.
I'm not the person that's gonna cause a scene though. Like Bradley said, you will never know. It was a dude on the ship that he was the most popular. He was the one that was doing, and nah, they didn't find out until way too late that I had been hitting that. Like, it was a dude in my command. Everybody was always trying to get it. So yeah, no,
I'll
no.
probably say I wonder what the statistics would be if you ask people out of 10 people. How many people do y'all think would say they had sex at their job?
I would say
I don't
you'd
know how
probably
many
get
would say
about
it, but 10 out
40%.
of 10 did it though.
Huh?
Yeah. If there was no fear of reprisal, you would probably run about 50% somewhere around there. People, I know the situation for me has presented itself a multitude of times. I've never taken advantage of it just because of the industry I was working in.
So Herb, you ain't never laid nobody out in an empty bed in the hotel.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Mm-mm. But like I
I
said,
worked at
just
one for
just
quite
because of
some
the
time.
industry
I
I
was
was
a
working in.
shuttle driver. So, so, so there were people who were absolutely doing their thing. They were not in the rooms. They were in the stairwells. They were on the stuck elevators. They were out back where the camera didn't see you. People were absolutely doing their thing. I personally don't believe in crossing business and pleasure, but they was getting it in, and a few times I caught quite a few people, even those ones who claimed they wasn't doing nothing. I was like, dude, do that. Your secret is fine with me. It's not my business. Do your thing, chicken wine. Just don't get on my shuttle doing it.
See, on the
I,
ship, it's a lot of dark places on the ship,
yeah.
especially when we're out to sea and it's lights out. Okay, so now you have all of these places on the ship that, they really are. If you're not looking, you could walk right past somebody and you wouldn't see them. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I said that, they have men at arms that are actually patrolling, looking for that. And some of the things that they will find, like I said, if you had the straight lace ones, you'll have those were the ones that want to turn everybody in. It's just like it's a whole bunch of paperwork, like you know what I'm saying. But 8 times out of 10, it was a situation where like, hey, I can turn both of y'all in, or like, your girl could,
Break
take
me
me
off a little
out
something,
too.
something.
And
But
I
when
and
we
I
had,
and, and I gotta tell you, it's a lot of girls that didn't want to go to captain's mast by fucking on the ship, but they had no problem with announcing who it was that got caught
we,
and where.
when we used to have
So
our pulley functions, the staff sergeants was walking around trying to see who was making alliances with who, so that they could promptly break that up, because they did not want fraternizing with each other. So I know when
6,000
you
people on
say
the
they
ship,
was
they
on
ain't
that
got
boat,
time.
they were
But look, okay,
serious.
so here's the thing when we talking about discretion. Now, of course, like I said, I'm 27, so even as E4, I'm dealing with E7s, E8s. I don't give a damn because I'm 27 years old. And so, what
Right.
I also figure is that, like the guy said, they expect and they appreciate a certain amount of discretion. And because there's this rule in place, I'm thinking no problem. Nobody will be running their mouth because nobody wants to get in trouble. And so I remember the same dude that decided to crunch down on my damn clit, that
Oh,
fool.
oh, oh.
I remember because I was not talking to him after that incident. What he decided, now
I
he's a
believe
whole senior chief. I am an E4, which means that I just got three little chevrons. Petty officer, third class is like the lowest rung where you start to get some power. He's a senior chief, and he's the senior chief of the mess desk. And so he hasn't seen, he can get different things. So he comes down to my office and he has a bag. Okay, he comes down personally to my office and he has a bag. And I go to the counter and I'm opening up this bag and I'm like, what is this? And he's smiling like a Cheshire cat. It's a bag full of shirts. Now, one of the other young boys in the office had been tasked with getting us shirts for out to sea because we don't have to wear our full uniform. We can wear our dungaree pants and we can wear a t-shirt, but the t-shirts are color coded to departments that we work in. He was burdened with the task of getting that, and because this dude's nose was so open, he was able to call this dude, tell him that I needed it, and this dude is not. This senior chief is now personally delivering these shirts to me, like he is bringing me, diamonds at Christmas. Everybody is there. And so I'm looking into that. He like a little birdie told me that you needed some shirts. A little birdie. I look over immediately. They having a big old laugh in the corner. My LPO just figured out what has just happened. But I'm looking at dude. Why are you personally even if you thought that I needed it? Why are you personally delivering the fucking shirts? You have people that work for you. This is supposed to be a secret. Not only is it not a secret because you so reckless that this dude now figures he can call you on my behalf. I said, do I now need to put a password on my name? Anybody can just call you and say that I need something and you're just bringing like the whole, like I couldn't, discretion out the window. Like he could have lost. I wouldn't have lost anything because I
He would
was
have lost.
just a
Yeah,
third class. But
he'd have
he
been
could
docked
have
rank and pay.
lost. Like it's like, dude. It's like, so men, women, because there was some women that was doing that stuff too. They was fucking them little semen and all of that stuff, and they had all of this right. Listen, discretion is key. Like everybody does not need to know what it is that you're doing and who you're doing because you never know who's hating on you in the background. You never know. And in the military, man, let somebody find out that you was bagging somebody that they wanted to bag. Oh, they got
Ooh,
real high
yeah,
school up
I've
in that.
heard.
They got
I've
real
heard.
high school up in
Yep.
that. So no life lessons
It's
from
not
the
just
bedroom.
restricted to the
Keep your
military.
goddamn mouth shut about what's going on in yours and who. Keep it shut.
That
Keep it
is
shut.
not
That
just
is so
restricted
true.
to the military.
Say
There
Like I
are
again.
said,
people
I'm
who work
I'm
at
cutthroat with
places.
mine. I'll cut you off, and I'll cut you off quicker than it takes us a chemical impulse across the synapse. I have no compunction about it.
But no, he could have lost. But you see what I'm saying? He could have lost everything. I was
Yes.
just a
Oh,
third
absolutely.
class. So this is what I'm saying. I'm figuring that, that I have the safety of, okay, he's gonna carry his hand carefully because he stands to lose. And he's standing down there in my damn office. Like I could have stabbed him in the eye. I could have stabbed him straight in the eye, just in front of everybody. So, yeah, hey, I learned it can make you do some crazy things. Yo, dude was ready. He woke up and chose to just risk his career. Like, yo.
But I just want to ask this question that is totally off the beaten path. I am sorry. I'm apologizing in advance. I just need to know why when David, when you did this promo, what was the wig for? I'm sorry, y'all. I need to
What was
know.
the wig
I'm
for?
sorry.
Because it
What
was
was
just
the
trying to
wig for?
get into character where you had that
What
man,
character?
huh?
What character was that?
Girl, I'm never climbing in bed with anybody that got hair that look like that. So I don't know what character you
Y'all
talking
act
about.
like
But
men,
that
y'all act
just
like men don't have
nah.
cruddies, these
That did not
afros,
set
or
no
whatever the
type of
case is.
mood at
Whatever.
all.
You
I
act like
laughed
y'all
my
don't get
damn
it.
head
You
off
act like
though.
y'all don't get it.
I'm
You act like
so
y'all don't get it.
sorry.
You act like y'all
I
don't see
didn't get
people
it.
walking around with afros and all that stuff. You act like y'all don't get it.
Oh,
I
that
do
was supposed to
not.
be an Afro wig.
Oh yeah.
It looked more like a clown wig without the colors.
Oh my God.
Anyways,
I just didn't know.
that
I
was
didn't
just
know.
a attention grabber in the first place. Y'all gotta understand marketing, whatever.
Sorry. I did not know
I
what
mean,
that was
I
about. I
understand
kept looking
marketing,
at
but
that
it just
wig.
took all the emphasis off what you were saying because I was just like,
Right.
why?
I was
It
so
caught your
stuck on the
attention,
wig,
right?
like what's happening right now? I don't understand. I went all the way to kindergarten because I kept looking at that thing like I have no idea
I
of
must have
what he's trying
missed
to say.
what it is because I didn't see it.
He's got
Right.
a
Not that it
weird,
matters.
he's got a weird like it reminded me of like a 70s porn wig. Like it was just like, and so I was just like, well, yeah, okay, Tiff.
Because that's what I thought of, a 70s porn star. I was like,
I
bruh, you
was so
just,
stuck with it.
is that the message you're trying to send?
I
Want to be
was
a
so
pimp up
stuck.
here? I don't know.
I was
I
being
had to.
funny, whatever. I was being
I
funny,
watched
whatever.
the
So
promo. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave, because I watched
He
that
said he
promo
was
twice
being
to see
I
funny.
was being funny,
what
So,
whatever. It was
Okay,
just
so
something to catch attention. That's all.
So let me ask a question of the men, because this is something that I've learned. This is just with the people that I've dealt with. And now we have to understand too that I have experiences from the military, and the some of the stuff that I've experienced in the military is very, very different. Uh just with how it goes, like I said. But I guess the question is, have you experienced, was there a time, during you having sex where you just wanted somebody to kind of just come over and go? Like you didn't, it was no cuddling, there was no, just, hey, just come
In
over
other
here
words, you
and
have
do what we
one
do.
purpose.
Because see, this was introduced to me in the military, and it was a person that I was in a relationship with, and we don't want to really go there because that would take the show to another direction. But anywho, I learned from that experience, because he was like, well, why are you still here? And it was a harsh lesson to
Oh,
learn. It was a harsh lesson to learn. And so what I started doing is that, when I was dating, and if we, went there and took it there, oh, by the time dude was going to go get the towel or whatever in the bathroom, oh, I was dressed and just about out the house. I was ghost. That's what that taught me when he said that, because I never ever wanted to be in a position where someone was saying that to me, because it was humiliating. It was, it was a hard lesson. And so the person that I was doing that to, it got to the point where one day he just didn't get up. And so now I'm like, okay. I'm like, now I gotta try to slink out of here. I gotta try to slink up out of here. And so I got up to leave, and it was very low. He didn't yell. The lights went. He was like, I'm gonna need you to lay back down. And I was like, what? And he was like, I'm tired of you treat me like a jump off. He was like, each time I come out the bathroom, I look at the nightstand to see if you done left some money on it. Cause you just get ghost, you just out. He was so
Boomerang
offended.
shit.
I actually
woo!
taught somebody how to do
He
that
was
shit.
so offended. But so I guess my question is, so was there a time where that's just all it was? Is that just something that's for certain women? Like what determines that? Because he was like very pissed. And any person subsequently that I've tried it, they're like, no, no, you need to pay back down. But when he said that, he was truly offended. He said he was looking at the nightstand to make sure I ain't left no money and shit.
See, for me,
Ah, woo. Go ahead, Dave.
at a younger age, yeah, there's people like that. There's people in your Rolodex that you had like that. You like, man, when you with the fellas and you like, man, we about to end the night, and you have somebody that a go to that say, I can call her, I can do this, and I can handle my business and get up out of there without any questions. Like it's nothing. I mean, and and like I said, that was when you were younger, whatever. And that happened frequently. Like say, like, man, especially if you're single and you just figuring out, like, okay, we've been out, long night of drinking, about to go over here, but I am not staying over there. I am not, whether they have little kids or whatever the case is, or something that annoys you about that person, that you say, I got to get up. If you're not driving, you might tell your boys to be on alert. Like, yo, dude, when I hit you up, come get me. Come get me. I'm only coming over here for this purpose, and I'm not staying that long. Now, the female may say, where you going? Oh, you just came over here to hit it and quit it. You already know the drill. Some women know the drill ahead of time. You know the drill. When have I ever stayed all night over here, or whatever the case is? But I guess if you
Listen,
get older, go ahead.
I was in a whole relationship with a dude that told me he got tired of me treating him like a piece of meat. It's like, dude, this is what I need.
That what, but
Time you
no,
get
that
done,
one
your bag.
experience from that dude taught me that, because I was in a
No,
relationship with that dude. It was an unhealthy relationship, but I was in a relationship with that dude, the one that asked me, like, why are you still here? Like, I was in a relationship with him. So this was something that was very sudden. Like, and so it felt like a slap in the face, but that's just where we were in the relationship. But it taught me that, okay, nobody's ever gonna be able to say this shit to me again. So how about this? I just
Let,
get
my,
the fuck
let
ghost.
me tell y'all a
See,
funny story. Let me tell y'all a funny story, whatever. And again, that's when I was younger. There was this chick. I was never into her. I was kind of not hoaxed, but kind of persuaded to talk to her because she didn't have a most pleasant face, but she had a nice
A
wide
banging
frame.
body.
And my boys, one of my boys is like, damn, man, you're going to pass that up. So one night I said, all right, I'm going to follow up with it. So I talked to her at the club, and then I'm like, and I came up to her just bold, like, yo, am I ending the night with you? And she was like, yeah, you getting the night with me. What she failed to tell me was she had a Melvin on the couch that she was trying to get rid of, and he wouldn't leave. But I'm arrogant and cocky. And she tells me at the door, she's like, well, I forgot to tell you that my ex, he's still here.
I
He's
forgot
still,
to tell you
yeah,
my
he's still
ex
here.
is
And
on
I'm
the
like,
couch.
really? Really?
she
I
ain't
said,
forget
so
to tell you.
yeah. I said, so I'm supposed to come in here and this man on the couch? She's like, yeah, well, we don't go together no more. Now, certainly at this age, I wouldn't take that chance. But at that time, I said, all right. I walked in. Sure enough, he was on the couch. And I gave him the head nod. What up, bro? And went back to the room. But, and I had told her, like, listen, you got to wake me up at a certain time. I don't want to take
You,
my image. I
you
don't want to take my take my image. Yeah. But then I was like, listen, I got to pick up my girl from the airport, so I got to be up early. So she was like, all right, I'll wake you up. Make sure to set the alarm. Set the alarm. Get up. Homeboy still on the couch in a fetal position. I give him the head nod. All right, bro. And walked out. And walked out. The chances that I took, he could have sliced and diced both
he
of us.
could have did, man.
It could have been a damn
Yo,
double
So bad news.
homicide at that time.
yo.
And this no lie. This ain't a made up story. And I'm like, man, crazy.
and so now that
Ah,
you're older, what's the story now that you're older?
What'd you say?
I said, so what's the story now that you're older? Because you
Uh,
specifically said I was younger,
yeah, I would never
but
take
what?
no. I wouldn't take no risks like that. That was just being young, cocky, and like thinking you're invincible. But as you get older, you realize, like, yo, people get killed up, sliced and diced for stuff like that. And I took a major chance because we had been out.
Here's what I
I
want
was
to
about
know.
nice as hell. So clearly, after we got it done, I slept until the time it was time for me to get up. He could have simply said, you know what? Oh, he's sleeping. Let me go in this room and handle my business. Because there's some people that lose it like that. And I'm just fortunate that he wasn't one of them, because I wouldn't be here to tell that story. So that was just ignorance on my part and cockiness that shouldn't have took place.
So
I,
here's what I want to know. Here's what I want to know from the men. When you feel like you're being treated like a piece of meat, it's like wham bam, thank you, sir. Get out, go home. It was good while it lasted. Get out. How does that play on your psyche?
I think it only play on your psychic if you care about that person. If you care, if you have feelings for them, you like, damn, like that, and you want more and you don't want to go. But if you don't, and you're like, shit, see your ass, or whatever the case is, I think it depends on the level of how you feel about the person, in my opinion.
yeah, I never take it. I never put my name. Or I don't even accept an application in which I'm not prepared to play a role. Now, for me, I'm upfront with about whatever I do with whomever I do. So I'm asking, what role am I playing? Am I playing a smash and dash? Am I
Smash and
playing?
dash.
Am I playing a short time? Am I playing a long time? And I'll let the woman determine what role I'm going to play in her life because I'm like a baseball player. I'm a 5-2 player, so whatever role you need me to play, I can play. For me, it doesn't matter. So even if I get emotionally invested, I'm always at the point that I'm going to say, okay, regardless of how I feel, I know what this is, and I'm capable of checking myself beyond any measure. So I'm not going to get caught up in anything, no matter how good the sex is, because I'm just like, hey, look, at the end of the day, this is what I put on the application, and this is what she accepted me under. So even if I want something extended, but the application doesn't say that, I've already rectified it myself. No matter what happens, this is what I signed up for. The problem that you encounter, or that some women going to encounter, is they don't have a man that has the emotional maturity to deal with the decisions that he has consented to. And I think that's where a lot of women actually run into problems. They say, "Well, I just wanted my back dug out." And now this guy hanging around like one female termed it as a Klingon. I just want him to beat me up, and now he's hanging around like he's a lost dog, and I gave him a couple kibits and some bits, and I can't get rid of him. So I always tell people, it's like they just say, KYP, know who you're dealing with. Because for me, you
So
can't treat me like a piece
does
of
Well, in
meat.
that
those
does
situations,
that
you can't know who you're
does
dealing
that
with because you
for
don't know who's
you?
going to turn into a stage 5 clinger. Because I take my cue from dudes, and most dudes is fucking for an invitation back. So I felt like that was a good rule to follow. And so you don't know who's going to be able to handle that type of thing. And so, but like, what's the alternative? Fucking bad? Like,
Well, no,
nope, I'm
no,
not finna do that.
So
no,
So,
this
but
this is
sometimes you just gotta take your chances on that. But yeah, they can turn, deadly.
so this was
no,
my
but that's why,
question.
but that's why I say that's
I'm gonna ask my question, then I'm gonna let Latoya address the court because she did raise her hand. But my question for you guys is: would you consider that one of the best or the worst decisions that you learned from the bedroom? Latoya, go ahead, and make your statement.
All right, so it's
Right.
kind of in regards to what David was saying about how it all depends on like the level of the person, how you react to a situation. So there, I had a friend, and she was messing with this guy. I had a friend, and she was messing with this guy, and he was the type that after they did they do, he wanted her to leave. So she came by me one day, and she's crying. Hold on a second, I'll come back.
um
Okay,
just
fellas, in the meantime, answer that question. Was that considered your best or your worst bedroom lesson?
well, no, for me, it mimics life. I mean, you let's look at it in terms of a job. Some people they see a job opportunity, and they apply for that opportunity, and they're granted that opportunity. And when they get there, they realize they don't like that opportunity, and the individual that hired them said, "Well, what were you expecting?" And they said, "Well, this, and this," but that's not what the job description said. I mean, we sat there in the interview. I went through what you were going to do, what your job title entailed, and you had a different thought, and it doesn't equate. Like there seems to be a misfire somewhere in the line of communication, and for some people, I don't know what that is. I know when I sign up for whatever it is with the female, that's what it is, unless it hasn't been clearly distinguished. And in that case, then I'll just let the roadmap go where the roadmap goes. And if I'm content with the role that I'm playing, then I'll keep it in the back of my mind that, hey, look, just because this hasn't been clearly delineated, that any time she wants to pull the rug out, she can pull the rug out. Same with me. If I want to pull the rug out, I can pull the rug out, and I'll go back to the maturity level. You have to be mature enough to understand what it is that you're dealing with. And I know Saria says it's hard to determine that. The way for me to determine that is you ask those type of probing questions. What do you do if somebody just abruptly ends a relationship? Like, how do you react? What do you do? How do you feel?
So
And
I'm gonna ask this question again, and this is a little bit anal on my part. I still don't think that the question of whether this was the best or the worst lesson that you learned from the bedroom was answered. I got your analogy about the job, but what I'm looking for is a specific answer to whether or not that was the best or the worst that you felt like you learned.
So
you're never going to be able to know, especially from your perspective, because we don't think it behaved the same. You're asking from a female perspective. From a guy's perspective, a lesson learned that's not necessarily good or bad is what you can do with the lesson.
Hmm.
so so,
I
so I
wasn't asking from the female perspective. I was really, really interested in knowing what the guys are going to have. I understand that that may not be an easy question to answer, but go ahead, Dave.
so I guess when you say the best, so what specific situation you talk about, like the best lesson learned? Because I know we've been
I'm
talking
saying,
about
was that
different
the
things.
best? Was what he was speaking of one of the best things that he learned from the bedroom, or was it worse? If it was worse, why was it worse? If it was best, why was it best? I understand everything he said. I don't need that reiterated, but I was looking specifically for whether that you would categorize that as one of the best lessons learned or one of the worst lessons learned.
So when I think about, if you're talking about, like, for me, that situation where the uh, when I went in the house, whatever, with the guy there, I think that was one of the best lessons learned, because that could have been a fatal situation. And so now, you understand. You may ask more questions, or whatever the case is. Whatever the case is, at that time, when you have alcohol that influence you, you're like, man, I'm about to, okay, I've stepped out, and this chick that I didn't think was the prettiest, she had a decent frame. All of a sudden, I'm acting with the other head instead of the one. So it was, once I got to that point, it was a point of no return, where I simply could have walked away and said, "Nah, G, you got to get him up out of here. Um, uh, we got to try to do this some other time." But at that time, I'm like, man, shit, I'm up in here. We just go be up in here, and it was almost like a pride thing. Like, okay, like, man, I couldn't wait to pull it off, to be able to tell my homeboys, like, yo, she had her, and they like, for real, word. But people die over this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
People
Yes, they
die
do.
over this stuff. So I was very fortunate. Now that I think about it, it's like, nah, you don't get caught up in that, and you got to
I
gauge people's
also agree with
temperature.
you. I do agree with you when I say those situations can be critical to life or death. But the fact is, you answered it. For you, that was the best lesson learned. And that was the question I was trying to get answered. Was that from a best or worst lesson learned scenario? Because the topic is best and worst lessons learned from our sexual exploits.
Yeah, that was one of the best. That was a powerful lesson learned. And every time I think about it, I was like, man, I could have been dead. I could have been dead. This dude could have lost it, and it would have been
Listen,
unfortunate.
I had an experience with a dude. He used to, for whatever reason, he didn't care about locking his doors.
Ooh.
And so he would be like, and I would say, hey, we're turning in. I need to lock the door. We need to lock the door. He was like, ain't nobody coming to my house and all this stuff. And so one night, after we've done what we do, I hear somebody come into the house. Now we still cuddled up. So I hear the door open and close and all this stuff, and all of a sudden, this woman just comes busting through the bedroom, and it's like, oh, so this is why you couldn't answer my phone calls and all this stuff.
Yeah,
And
buddy.
I'm just like, yo, like, what in the world? So for me, I learned that. So for me, if it's a dude that tells me, that he don't lock his doors and stuff, I'm a little gun shy about that. Cause see, I'm all for, let's feel safe and all of this stuff and kumbaya, but nah, somebody done walked up in and see anything could have happened. I was invited. So it's not like I felt like I did anything wrong, but at the same time, like anything could have happened. It's like some people are really reckless with the things that they do. And that if you're dealing with more than one person, then to me, just a common sense move is lock your damn doors. Because, see, she knew that he didn't lock his doors either. That's why she felt comfortable just like coming up, just walking into his house like that. Like, to me, that's a reckless move. That's a reckless move, like on both of their parts, because she don't know what could have happened if she'd have just, with her just walking in. He doesn't have sense enough to lock his doors. Like, yeah, so we couldn't. I was ghost real quick on that situation. We did when my safety
Why does
goes
that
on.
remind me of Tina Turner's movie in which the lady walked in and put a gun to her head? Let me tell you something. Somebody walked in anywhere and put a gun to my head. You could not even speak to me anymore, let alone think I'm going to line up with you. So
Yeah, oh
I
no,
get
that was it.
110%
That was
what you're
done.
saying.
That was I don't need no more than
Exactly.
one thing to happen like that. Like that was done
Right.
for me. I don't
Okay,
have a lot of
Latour.
tolerance.
No,
Brolic T,
I,
the floor is back yours now because we had to let Brolic T be able to make her statement because she had to dip out right quick and came back, and I told her she can have the floor.
Yeah, I'm looking for my
Brolic T is
keys.
yours.
Oh, okay. Well, I got like two stories real quick. So I had a friend back in the day who was messing with this guy. Now, when she started messing with this guy, I told her he don't go falling in love, don't go catching feelings, because he's just not that one. She was like, why? I was like, I can't tell you why. He did something shady until this day. She don't even know about it. But he did something, and I was just like, look, that's not the one for you. Don't go catching feelings, don't go falling in love. Right? Because I knew her well enough to know that if I had told her what the deal was, she wouldn't believe me anyway. So I was like, look, all I can tell you is he ain't that one. Just, don't do it. Okay, whatever. So, and that was my warning to her. I'm not gonna tell you how you live your life, but just that dude right there, that's just not the one for you, right? So time go on. I'm sitting back, I'm watching. He's supposed to be her jump off. She started buying him gifts. So I was like, look, I told you that ain't the one. You breaking rules. Don't be buying gifts. You buy gifts for boyfriends. You don't buy gifts for jump offs. So she snapped on me and was like, I'm grown. I know what I'm doing. And you can't tell me. All right. So when she said that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch you jump off this cliff and I'm gonna see how this works.
oh,
I gotta see this now. Now I gotta see it. I tried to keep you from hurting yourself, but you insist on banging your head. So now I'm gonna watch you jump off this cliff and I wanna see how this gonna work out.
Mm-hmm.
So one day she showed up at my dorm or whatever. Matter of fact, we were roommates. And she's sitting in the room or whatever, and I'm studying. I got my headphones in, I'm studying or whatever. I took my headphones off because I could hear like this noise. And I was like, what's that noise? I realized she's sitting behind me crying. So
it's not funny, but it is.
the friend in me was like, ask her what's wrong. The bitch in me was like, she told me she grown. I don't give a fuck, right? So I kept doing what I'm doing. I actually unplugged my headphones and turned the music up because I didn't want to hear this shit. I couldn't help but be petty in that moment. But after she snapped said I'm grown, I know, okay,
Okay,
all right, you know what you're doing,
got
right?
you.
So I already knew why she was crying. I was just waiting for this day to come. So she gets louder. So finally I was just like, fuck, she's not gonna let me have no peace with this. So I turned the radio down and I goes, what's the matter? What you over there crying for? She goes, oh, every time after we do it, he doesn't want to cuddle with me. He just wants me to leave. And I was like, okay, and I
All
said,
right.
look, I tried to tell you from the door that he's not that one to go catching feelings for. You came out your face and told me that you was grown and you understand. I said, so let me take you to school real quick. I said, you want to get him to do what you want to do, this is what you do. I said, next time y'all have sex, get up, put your clothes on, leave. Don't say
Just
goodbye. Don't try and
leave.
kiss him.
Just
Don't give him no hug.
leave.
Nothing. Just leave. She
Just
was like, just
leave.
leave. I was like, yes, just leave. Just leave. I said, and keep doing that. I said, and then eventually, you know what's going to happen? He's gonna want to hug and kiss you.
They gonna tell your
Because
ass
he
to
wants
stay.
to know. Because he want to know why you being so mean to him. Why you don't hug and kiss him no more? I said, turn the tables on that motherfucker.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
like, and watch how this shit goes. So she was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So she did
Listen.
it and it worked. And she
A lot
comes
of
back bragging
games.
like, oh, he's listening. I
Yeah,
was like,
David,
yeah.
it
I
is.
was like,
I
look,
mean, you could call them games, you could call them whatever. It's no
You
different
can
than
call
when
it what you
dudes,
will. Men
it's
do it
no
all the
different
time.
than
exactly.
when
No, I'm not
Let me
saying
tell you
period.
something.
I'm saying
Wait
My
a
overall.
it's
uncles,
for
minute.
my
me,
Yeah.
but
uncles
for
taught me
me, yeah, I learned that from a dude. I learned those games
exactly.
We're
from
not.
My
my
Hold
uncles
on.
uncle.
taught me all
Wait a
this
moment.
shit.
Your
Wait a
uncle taught
moment.
you what? Wait a
Wait.
minute.
I've
Rolly
also
T was
learned
Wait
that
a
not
if you
finished
moment.
want a
with
mofo to come
Rolly
home,
T was
listen, it
not
wasn't a
finished with
negative
the floor.
thing.
Let her finish with the floor. She
Hold on.
still has the
Oh,
floor. Let her
yes,
finish.
she does. But I just want to
Let her
interject
finish.
something.
Let her no. Let her
Scorp-
finish, and then
Scorpio T.
you
I
can
just
counter.
want to
You can
interject
respond.
something. I'm not countering anything.
Nah, go ahead,
I'm
interject.
just
When
okay.
David
Go
said it
ahead.
was when David said it was games, he's talking about from both
A
genders.
lot of games.
Period.
But life's a game. It's all a game. I enjoy
Uh-huh.
them at this point. The only
And it's
people that's
about who
complaining
played the
about the
best.
games mostly is the losers. I mean, let's just be real about it. The only people that's really complaining about the games is the mofos that's losing. So
Well,
I'm all about it. All I need is the rules. That's it. I don't even
well,
need to
I'm
change them.
And that's
well.
what I
I'm
was
not.
trying to tell her. I was like, yo, there's a rule, there's an because she was a house cat.
Okay.
Right? She's a house cat. She didn't know anything about like life, and nobody taught her that there's rules in dating and relationships or none of those things. So here I am. I'm not much older than she is. She was actually older than me, and I'm putting her on game. And I'm like, look, you want him to do what you want to do. This is what you do. Turn the table on him and beat him at his own damn game. And that's how you get somebody like him to fall in line and do what the fuck you want to do. Turn the tables on him and give
Or
him a dose
even
of
you
his
just
own
keep your
medicine.
emotions to yourself, because even if she was to get him to cuddle with her, it's only going to be for that night. That's not,
Right.
he
Oh
wasn't checking
no,
for her for that. You know what I'm saying?
no.
So for me, when I'm talking to women, my thing is you got to learn how to inspire what you require. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when that dude made that statement about why you still here, now I made him regret it because, like I said, from then on, I ain't here. You'll never have to say that to me again. I will make you ask me to stay. And I like that much better than the mofo
Mm-hmm.
asking me why I'm still there. So no, I'm getting up and I'm
Mm-hmm.
leaving. But I learned a long time ago. You want to do, when I hear women or when I see women complaining on Facebook about, my dude don't come home, or he breaking dates with me, or he standing me up on this. And I'm
Yo,
like,
know what your worth is.
look,
When you know what your
listen.
worth is, ain't
The
shit a
the
nigga could
quickest
do.
way, the quickest way to get a mofo to want to come home is to tell him he ain't got to.
Yep.
A mofo
Because
called
then he
me
get
and
curious
tell
why
me
he can't
a
come home, why
mofo
he ain't gotta
called
come
me and
home.
tell me that
Shit, when you get
that
here, I ain't
he's
gonna be here.
not gonna show up on a date with
Fuck
me.
that.
Oh, if you're not showing up on a date with me, I got something else to do. Oh, that's cool. I had something else to do too. No worries. And then I turn my phone off. You talk
Yep.
about a motherfucker
Well,
just about
see,
coming and kicking my
listen.
door down, wondering why I wasn't fighting and fussing and all of that stuff, because that's what most women would do. Well, why you can't spend time with me? Well, why you can't come over here? That's
Nope.
fuel.
I ain't got time.
Okay, cool. I got something to do too. I don't give a damn if all I had to do was pick the toe jam out of my toes. Nigga, I got something else to do too. Don't worry about it. And now I'm not even gonna answer my phone. Yeah, there comes. So,
Well,
gotta learn how to inspire that sort of thing.
I think my problem has always been that my time is valuable to me. And if I don't want to spend my time with you, I'm just not. If you don't want to spend your time with me, I promise you I'm 110, 25% okay with that. Just understand that when you're ready to spend time, I may be just spending my own time. So I never really got off into that. I'm not much of a game player. When I say what I say, I mean what I say. When I say what I say, and what I do, I mean what I did. My thing has always been okay, listen, if because like friends with benefits is something that I never did. If you're my friend, you're my friend, and that's where you're gonna stay. There is nothing in the middle for me. I'm speaking strictly for me. If you are my friend, you are my friend. If I am your friend, I am your friend. So there are certain things, my line in the sand has been drawn. So there are just certain things that I'm not going to cross. With that being said, even when I was single, it was one individual. He knew, and it was the one person that I would be intimate with. He knew what the game, the plan was. You only got one thing to offer me. Once that one thing is over with, we are not cuddling. I do not want to hear about your problems, and I will call you when I want to see
Oh
you.
shit.
That is it. That is all. There is nothing literally in the middle. So he always, and this is somebody that's going back to high school. So this is not, he always had the problem where you treat me like a piece of meat. Well, that's what you are. You have that's the only value that you have to me at this point.
Damn.
So it
You just told him?
sounds, yeah, I told him, yeah, I did tell him that. Like, come on, we're not crossing the lines here. You have one purpose to serve. That's it. That's all. So when I come see you or you come see me, I'm looking for one thing. Do not talk to me. Do not tell me your life story. Do not tell me your problems. You get to work and make sure the work counts. Because if it don't count, I'm not coming back. And with that being said, I was not disappointed. However, I mean, the problem is when you mix friends and you mix certain other things, you have to be able and you have to know that you are mature enough to deal with that. If he is saying to you, I'm not into you like that, I enjoy what we do, understand that means do not attach feelings to certain things. Those two do not work well together. And men, particularly, have a hard time when they have a woman that's telling them, dude, you only got one thing to offer me. And if you can't fill that role, then listen, don't call me until you're ready. That's it. That's all. They have a real hard time with that. I've never been the kind of person that just spreads my, I just ain't do that. I'm not knocking the people that do because there are some women that can treat a man just like a man treat a woman. Kudos to you. I'm just not the person that does that. Men have a really hard time when they figure out they're just a piece of meat to a woman um, in that particular scenario. And women have the same problem. You think you're equipped, you think you're mature, you think you're ready for friends with benefits because you want to go out on dates and bowling and extend this. He's not into that. The rules were clearly defined. Stick within those rules, and your heart will not get
Yep.
broken or
But see, here go
anything
the
else.
thing. For now, this for me, and I understood everything that you said. But see, me and my friends, we go bowling, we go to the movies, we do all of that
Hmm.
stuff.
Yep.
So I don't have friends. For me, what you're describing is a fuck buddy, somebody
Yes,
that
sir.
just comes
Yeah,
over and
yeah,
just
Yes,
fucks,
Yep.
and
that's a
that's
Yep.
it.
fuck
See,
buddy.
I go
yeah,
out with my friends. We go out to dinner.
yeah.
We do all kind of stuff together.
Yep.
So I don't limit. For me, friends with benefit is just that. Like I said, I don't call a person my friend that's not my friend. I don't put
Right.
somebody that I don't like
Hmm.
in that role, period. If you're a fuck buddy, so, or a booty call, somebody that I just call when there's an itch to be scratched, that's a very, very different relationship to me
Yes, sir.
than a friend with benefit. Because like I said, my friends, oh, we go out. we
And
we go to the
and
movie,
I agree
we
with
hang
that.
out,
I
we do
agree with
all of that
that.
stuff. I just, for
I
me, I'm
agree with
just like,
that
if
as
I
far
can't
as
fuck my
friendship.
friends, who can I fuck? Shit, these strangers out
What
here,
I'm
nah, I'm
talking
with
about
somebody that I
is
know.
what I'm talking about is when you're intimate with a particular individual. I agree with all that. I do all that with my friends. But in terms of intimacy, intimacy, that is, I don't do that with my friends. So if you're my designated person for that particular mean, that's all you're designated for. Do not ask me on dates. Do not ask me nothing. I'm not having a conversation with you about anything. I know that sounds mean, but it is what it
I
is.
mean, it is
You have
what it
one
is. It
purpose.
just sounds like what it is. There's some men that can do that
It's
too.
what
And
it
so,
is.
I'm with you. And like I said, I've had those people, but to me, those are very different categories. Because again, if somebody, my friend, and what you have to understand about me too is people that I call my friend, that's a very short friends list. Everybody doesn't get that. The
Mm-hmm.
friendships I'm talking about, these are friendships that I've had since I was a kid, 3 years
Right.
old, 2 years old. I have lifelong friendships. If I can't fuck those dudes, who can I fuck? They've known me since we was. That's just where I'm at with that. Like, these are people that I still talk to on a regular basis. And so for me, the way my lifestyle is, because they were there through all of those childhood things that happened to me, all of that stuff, and we bonded over that, and so we know. So for me, it's always easier to deal with somebody that I know. Like I said, the only reason my friend zone is filled with mofos that if the timing was right, if the moon is glowing in the right direction, and that's just would be what it is, because I trust these people. Now the one night stand dude, because I've done that before just to see if I could do it, and man, it was fun. I see why you guys do that shit. It was empowering. Like, no, that shit was downright empowering, yo. Like, it was like, to just go in and just pick a mofo. And so, like, I've had to too, and I didn't want to talk. I didn't need to know your name. I don't need nothing. All I need to know is if you've got a pocket full of condoms, because if you don't, we need to get some. And, other than that, I didn't need to know anything. But that's one of those things that I've only done once. But it was wonderful. Like, I see why y'all do it. Like, that shit was great.
It's you know what it is. It's the truest essence of animalistic sex that
Yes.
that we
And it
have
was
we have the
wonderful.
capacity to exhibit as humans, because you're leaving nothing on the table. You're saying, okay, I'm giving this one shot. It's the boxing analogy, and I'm sure David will attest to this. You need to knock him out. It's the
And
10th
look, I
round.
went after
The
him
score cards
too.
are in your favor. You need to go in here and take care of
Look, I
business,
went
and that's
after
what you
him.
do.
It was a full-on assault, yo. So here's the thing. No, here's the thing. So I was supposed to have, okay, one of these friends with benefits. We were supposed to have a date. He had some mishaps happen and he couldn't come through. But dude was actually, I said, okay, dude, well, I gotta go. He was like, well, what you finna do? Look, we're about to be out to sea for 6 weeks. It's been about that long since we've done anything anyway. So I got to go. You doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I
I
gotta
gotta
handle my
go.
business.
So I have me and one of my friends that know what I like. He's one of my gay friends. We're going out to the club. I'm drinking Mad Dog 2020
Oh,
because at the time,
Oh,
oh
God
yes, the
damn!
great, oh
greatness.
yes, oh yes, oh yes.
You was trying to get
So,
plowed.
so,
Yes.
and did. And so I had on a cat suit, my looking just so. Me and my friend, we already discussed what it was that I like. He knew what I was looking for, and we went on a full on mission. Walked up in that club, spotted the dude that I want. Listen, that shit was beautiful. Like, I'm trying to tell you, strategy. Ladies, listen to me. Men are hunters. All you have to do is put yourself in their line of sight. That's it. You don't got to do nothing else. And if the chemistry is there, they're coming after you. So he was with a group of his friends. I walked into the middle of that group of friends and like flexed his arm and then just walked away. Oh, fuck. Of course, he stopped me. And I was like, no, go on with your friends. I'll see you later. I watched that dude the whole night look for me. And me and my friend were communicating like, yeah, by the door. Like, this was a whole covert operation that I just pulled on this dude. And so when the club was letting out, when everything was about to go, my friend stopped him at the door. He said, you really want to just stand here by the door? So I came slinking up because, I done had the Mad Dog 2020 at the house. I done got a couple of drinks while I was there. I'm feeling right where I needed to feel. And so I asked him, I said, are you with all of these people? And he said, yes. I said, that's the wrong answer. I said, let me break this down to you. I was like, getting a piece of pussy is probably never going to be easier in your life
Oh
than it
shit!
is right now. I was like, and what you need to do is you need to ditch all of those people right there, and you need to be at this address in 10 minutes. And I walked away. Oh my God. When I tell you, When dude showed up at that house, he had ditched all them damn friends. He had went, got a whole bunch of condoms, and it was a beautiful night.
Scorpio,
He
fix your
wanted to
phone.
exchange numbers. It was a beautiful night. And Miss Danielle, if you've never done it, darling, you need to pop a pill and drink something, and you need to just go try. It was the most empowering thing I've ever done in my life. Oh my God. It was beautiful. It was, and dude did not disappoint. It's one of those nights that just need to go right. And that thing went off like a hitch. I mean, everything was right. He had the right size. He had the right technique. He had the right amount of condoms. Like his voice was right. Like it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I'm telling you, Danielle, go do it. Go do it. Treat yourself, girl. Treat yourself to one. Get at least one in your life. Treat yourself. Just go shopping for one. Just go shopping. It was beautiful.
She said, "Pull out the diamond, the black Mastercard, and
Pull
just."
out the cat suit. Pull out your girl. Pull it out. Pull it out. Dust it off. Go try it. It's beautiful. You'll find you one that'll blow your back out the right way. Girl, go do it. It'll change your life. I'm trying to tell you.
Go have one of those entanglements.
Go have several.
Man,
Go have
I had
several.
one that backfired because it was supposed to be a one night stand and I never see him again. And I swear to God, every fucking where I went after we did the do, I felt like I was being fucking stalked after that. He kept showing up places. The fuck?
Listen, I had one of those experiences where you meet them at karaoke. We used to go to every Friday. The dude that I met on Friday was cool. That mofo that showed up at my house from Saturday to Thursday. I don't know who that motherfucker was. I should have just left him on karaoke night. Those are the ones the one that I told you we argued about sex because he had to control everything. And so we were trying to get it in. Or I was trying to get it in, and he pulled out I should make you wait. Dig it. You should make who wait? And I was on the phone with somebody else. Nah, you should make who wait. You got me messed up. Like, nah, when I'm ready. So no, I have learned through a bad sexual experience that some dude that you meet in the club, you need to keep them there. Like for 2 years, every Friday, he was lighting my cigarettes. This is back when I used to smoke cigarettes. He'd light my cigarette, buy my first drink, buy my girl's drink. This every Friday for like 2 years. I should have just left that mofo there on Fridays, but he caught me on a birthday. And it was ridiculous. So yeah, that's for me. Not all of them is good. She said, what did Danielle say? Now, if it's whack, I'm going to pick. No, listen, Danielle, we're at the age right now, Danielle, where we can make sure that it's not whack. This is why we just told you need to do a tip test. Like, I felt the arms and all that stuff. Now, I did take a chance, but let me tell you, when we was doing all that foreplay, I was feeling everything. So, no, it's not going to be whack. Believe me, this is where your discernment's going to come in at, girl. Just go do it. I'm trying to tell you, don't talk yourself out of it. Just go make girl. I'm telling you, pop a pill, take a drink, and take the plunge. Go do it.
MD 2020, huh?
It was,
Yeah,
yeah,
most
it
guys,
was.
I will tell you this as a reserved guy. There's I don't mind a female who will search out what she wants and make it known, to the point of copying what some people would deem as a cheap feel. Because if that's the way she's rolling, she's putting it out there, like Saria said, and she's making it known that, hey, look, it's never going to be easier for you to get in these goodies if you
Right
want it.
now,
Now, you
right
have
now,
to
right
understand.
now. 10 minutes. He
You
had
have,
10 minutes to make a decision.
right. You have to understand, just like Saria did, that he has he has the right to refuse, and if he does, you have to not take that personal. Because I'll tell you, there are some women
I
that
couldn't
I've
have
seen
took
that
it
are
for me. I couldn't have taken it personal because I left. I just left.
well,
I just left
yes,
and gave him the
yes,
address. So in mine, I couldn't even take it personal if he did. I probably would have been upset if he didn't. But that also goes, and I had stalked him that whole night. He was primed and ready. Already knew.
some of these ladies just out here, they don't know what they're doing.
Right. And
Yes,
that's what I
that's
want.
big dick energy, Danielle.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted, and that's what I was trying to highlight is like Saria said, she found her prey, stalked him, set him up. So when she made her move, she knew pretty much knew within a degree of certainty that he was already there. He just needed a gentle nudge, and that was what the 10 minutes in the address was. So you can't go in there like somebody looking to be successful and you haven't done the work to be successful, because in that regard you won't, what your efforts are going to yield the same results. So if you put no effort in, you're going to get no results. So Rhea put in that effort, the groundwork, she laid the foundation, the building. All she needed was a roof, and he was a roof.
So I'm going to interject at this time and give my closing statement because there's another matter I need to attend to. To thine own self be true. I truly enjoyed the conversation, had a lot of laughs. It was great while it lasted. Hopefully, you guys learned something, blah, 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 and some more blah. And to thine own self be true.
Thanks for
I'm out, y'all.
co-hosting. Appreciate you.
Good
All right.
night.
Hope
Good
everything
night.
is okay.
Me too.
I
I hope
just need to
everything's all right.
attend to something else.
Yeah,
Right quick. Got a
Danielle, she
customer.
has another
So I
question,
need to take it.
and and I think Surreal will agree with this. It's just not about his size, because you can find a man that isn't quite as big as another man, but he's more skilled than the other man. His looks, his charisma, all of that he brings to the table enhances the experience. So if he can sit, let's say you get a guy, you whatever your quirk is, he has that, but he's not as big as another guy that doesn't hit that quirk. When that quirk for you is met, all those other things that he has will fall in line. And trust me, you'll be like, you know what? He wasn't as big, but he was better. And this is what Saria's talking about with learning yourself. Once you learn yourself as a person, especially
Said
with
that
it,
was a joke.
because sex for women is different than it is for a man. For a man, it's just about the physical performance. For women, it's a mental, can be spiritual, and as well as a physical. So all three of those for a woman to climax or reach a certain level of satisfaction have to be met. This is why they often say a lot of guys are in good till they open their mouth, because once they open their mouth, they ruin the aura and the image that she had in her mind of what it could have been.
I mean, it's the same way for men when they see certain women. Y'all have this whole idea in y'all head, and then when she open her mouth and you realize she ain't got no brain between her, she don't got no brain in her skull. It's like, well, you cute and all, and I might fuck you, but you can't be more than just a fuck here. There.
I mean, well, that's across the spectrum, provided that that is what that individual is looking for. For me, I don't. I just refuse to deal with people that I don't deem intelligent at all. It doesn't matter if I'm sexually interested in her, or I'm looking to have a business partner. If you can't exhibit some type of intelligence, I don't have a need for you. That's just me. Call it mean, call it evil, call it whatever you want to. That's just how I hurl. And I always put those disclaimers out there. Look, I don't deal with dumb people. I refuse to, let me not say dumb. I don't deal with stupid people, and I don't deal with people who can't use the intelligence they have. Now, I understand if you're not at the level that I am, because I deal with a lot of different things, and some people think the things that I deal with are just, why even care about that type of stuff? It's just the individual I am. So I, you know, I give my understanding and comprehension to those type of people, and I say, okay, well, she's not into politics, she's not into sports, she's not into naval history or military history. So I have to find a different way to connect with this individual. And if I can find a different way to connect with that individual, then I am more than willing to do that. But also, I'm going to bring them along with some of the things that I like. So if I deem this person worthy of more than just a splash, then I can help that individual grow into the direction that I want.
Mm, mm,
Well,
mm.
look, people can earn their spot with me, but here's one thing. I'm not, when it comes to the first thing is I'm never really comparing one person to the other unless I'm in that conversation, unless somebody is asking me a question about it. But usually, I won't be able to say oh, this dude was bigger than that dude. Because when I talk about the tip test, that's just for me to make sure that I'm gonna be satisfied. It's not necessarily to take measurements and all of that stuff, because it is that's why I said size matters, but so does skill. And so just because somebody is really huge doesn't mean that they have the skill to use it. They could be clumsy and not know what to do. Just because somebody is smaller than that person, their skill level can be all throughout the roof, but it's never really a comparison. Most of the time, I'm never even talking to a person that I'm thinking of being intimate with about any of my other experiences unless we're having that conversation and they bring it up. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you get to earn your place with me. If we start off just, sex, it doesn't have to stay there. I know where I'm prepared to take things. It's very easy for me to cut people off emotionally. It is just very easy to do. And so I will tell people all the time, listen, I'm going to caution you against falling in love, because if you one of those type of brothers that need text messages and all of that stuff all throughout the day and hearts and emojis and shit, like, you gonna be mad at me because I got other shit to do. Like, and you should have other shit to do too. Your life was supposed to be full and happy and all that shit before I rolled up in it too. So I'm not even saying it as a, oh, nigga, I got stuff. No, we're
Yeah,
supposed to each have some full lives here, you know.
totally
So
agree with
that's
that.
just me. That's just me, So if you sitting around, my life is not about to change. I don't care how nice you done hit it out the park. It's been a long time since I've been able to be digmatized, where somebody just got my nose open and I can't go to work and I can't. No, I have other stuff to do. Part of the reason why I don't necessarily like to cuddle up and I like to go home is because I like to lament on what just happened. And I like to do that by myself. I like to be able, to take my drive home or whatever it is and smoke my blunt and just think about, we really just did that shit. That's really what it is. So, and a lot of times they want to talk. And they want to ask you, I haven't processed it yet. I don't want to talk about it. I want to process it and and all that. So, it's just, I know me. And so I think the trick is just finding the people that can deal with your particular brand of crazy and the things that you have going on. And you got to learn theirs too. Like the dude that told me to stop treating him like a jump off. I didn't know that that would be something offensive. I thought that that was something that dudes was like, hey, yeah, I don't got to kick her out. I don't got to tell her to go. Because that's always that awkward moment. How do you say it? Do you yawn and be like, oh, I got to work in the morning? Like, it was nice
I
stripping
could have
you.
read in
Like, what do
between
you
our
say?
lines and shit.
Like, so I'm like, in my mind, I'm just avoiding that awkward moment. It don't got to be awkward for neither one of us because I don't want to stay up in this motherfucker anyway. Then all of a sudden you told that you treat him like a jump off and he expecting it to be money on a damn nightstand and all that shit. So,
The one thing I
I
want to
guess.
say is what you said, Soraya, and it's true about having stuff to do, whatever. Like, it's you shouldn't be consumed with just in that space. Like me, to me, when you 30 in your mid 30s, 40s, and 50s, and you talking about you bored, excuse my language, get a fucking life, man. There's so much stuff to do as you get
Yeah.
older. Time,
It's too much for
time go
sure.
by so fast, and you be like, there's so much I wanted to do today, but I couldn't get it done. I can never, if I say I'm bored, something wrong with me because I have so much stuff spinning in my head, and a lot of times I waste time, and there's so much things that I want to do. So I'm never getting caught up in a certain individual based on that because I'm like, I got too much stuff I want to do. Life is short and too many things that I want to accomplish. And it ain't about sexual pleasure. Now, granted, that's a bonus and all that stuff. You enjoy it, but you still have to come back to reality and try to accomplish things that you need to accomplish. So that's my mindset. But we are gonna get up out of here. So we're gonna get ready to get some closing points, whatever. But it's been a lot of amazing conversation this evening. I'm gonna let you lead, close it out, Saray, and we gonna end up getting ready to get up out of here.
I mean, you know where I'm at with it. My saying don't change. Check yourself more than you check other people. Your life will open up. And fair exchange is no robbery, especially in the bed, you thieving ass mofos. Like, don't be selfish. like fair exchange. No, do not be a thief up out in here. Like, nah, because most of the time, I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna leave you guys with this. For women, at least for women like me, a lot of the time we really just want to be able to share some pussy with y'all without being made to feel like an idiot. And it seems like a lot of times men pride themselves on making us feel like an idiot for sharing it with you. We don't necessarily, a woman that's been celibate for 10 years, she got the worst attitude ever. And I would recommend the girl, come off the shelf, girl. Come back from the light. Come back from the light. Everybody needs to go and do like one night stand, especially when this quarantine let up. Just find one, because there's some fine brothers out here now that this quarantine done lifted. I'm trying to tell you, they've been lifting weights and everything. I've seen them. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Oh, stop it.
All right.
That's where I'm at.
Well, I'm going to add a little flair to this conversation, or my closing point. Fellas, if your game ain't up to snuff, don't be out here passing out BDRs. And quite simply, BDRs means bad dick reports. You're too old for that shit. Tighten up.
Because we will tell.
Yes, they will.
Will embarrass the shit out of you in public about it. Don't do it.
Scorpio, brolic T.
I mean, y'all know mine. Don't nothing hurt but a lick. and I mean that in every
ass.
sense. Don't nothing hurt but a lick.
Spank that ass. Huh?
Yep. Ain't nothing wrong with a little slap and tickle here and there. I'm just saying. You might like it. Just done right.
No choking.
All right, for me, whatever.
I'm being honest.
For me,
nope, little choke here there, little slap here there. Being tied up don't hurt nobody. Actually, make you closer if you do it right.
Oh wow.
Might fix your marriage. I'm just saying. Sometimes you gotta think outside the box.
Yeah, that's a pivotal word, thinking outside the box. And for me, this whole conversation, it was a good conversation. Sometimes we don't take it this deep, but we know that a lot of times this is what can bring us together when you talk about those bedroom lessons. So this was a very informative show, kind of against the norm. We usually have a lot of back and forth, but this, you really can't argue back and forth over your own personal likes or dislikes or whatever the case is. But it was valuable insight, and ultimately, no matter whatever the case is, and you're involved with somebody, you want to have some intimacy at the end. Those people who say, we sleep in separate rooms, or we just paying bills together and all that stuff. How much enjoyment is that really? How pleasurable that is? So ultimately, you want to be able to smile, laugh. Like I said, I'm too stubborn for makeup sex and all that stuff. But even that, you have to be able to open up your horizons and say, I got to let some things go and enjoy life, because it's too short. And we know it now more than ever that life is short. People is passing. And again, we're going to say this, COVID's still around. Even though they're trying to let up things, we got to enjoy each other and enjoy these moments, because they're not guaranteed. So that's my final thing.
Well, it has been fun. As always, I am packing up here because I will be hitting the road tomorrow back to Virginia.
Okay, you out of there? You out of Ohio? You leaving it? You leaving the babies?
Kind of out of kind of out of nana mode. I still got the oldest one. She's coming with me, but we had already agreed that she would stay with me for a couple of weeks. But yeah, so I got to get up out of nana mode real quick. Need to recharge my batteries.
I've seen.
Recharge batteries, girl. I feel you. You just have no
Cause
idea. I feel you.
listen, the human batteries, the human batteries. I can't. I need to recharge the batteries. I got people that miss me, and I miss them, and I need to get back. we have business to handle.
I feel you.
So
Good people. Another
with that, the
appreciate
next time you
everybody.
guys see me, I should be in Virginia.
All right, we look forward to seeing you. Have safe travels. Be safe, you and the little one, and stay great. And for everybody else, enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll be back on Thursday for another segment, cocktail conversations, and keep the flow going. And everybody stay safe and have a great night. We out of here in the counselor's
Good
corner.
night.
Great show. Good night.
Good night. This was fun. We gotta do stuff like this more often.
Hey, it ain't nothing. We always say, give us a topic, we roll with it, and we adapt. That's all. All right, good people. We out of here.
Well, good
Appreciate
night,
you
All
all.
everybody.
right.